It's the Mixed Martial Arts Hour with
Mixed Martial Arts Hour is back in your life on this Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. Hello again, everyone. I sure hope you're doing well. It is so great to be here on a lovely, beautiful, warm Wednesday afternoon in New York City. My friends, usually at the top of the show, I like to dilly-dally. I like to speak of things. I like to talk about things. I like to, maybe shoot the breeze with Frank. There is no time to waste, my friends. There's no time to waste. I woke up today at around 6:30, as I usually do, and I got a message from my good friend Abby Subban. And he said to me, oh, wow, Tom Aspinall in New York. And I thought he was talking about Tom Aspinall in studio. And then I went on Twitter and I was like, wait a second, Tom Aspinall in New York, what is going on? And yes, I was fast asleep when the news broke last night that Tommy Aspinall, our very own, is going to be fighting in Madison Square Garden. He is going to be fighting against Sergey Pavlovich in an interim heavyweight title fight. I have many thoughts on this. The big news, of course, John Jones not fighting, injured his pec, will have surgery soon, out approximately 8 months, no Stipe Miocic. So much to dissect, so much to discuss as it pertains to this news, and trust me, on today's program, we will do so. Actually, a very heavyweight-like slant to today's program, and that was before the news broke. So it's great when news breaks either on a Tuesday or a Wednesday morning, because now we can talk about it in a very fresh and clear-headed fashion. So I can't wait for that. As always, we are presented by our good friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. They are the official sports betting partner of not only this program, but the UFC as well. Please download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Put in the code, the MMA Hour. If you're a first-time user, they hook you up. Okay, back into the show. The Parlay Boys will make their picks for this weekend. Not a ton going on, but of course there is the big Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury fight, the battle of the baddest this weekend. Riyadh, ESPN Plus pay-per-view in America, TNT Sports box office over in the UK. Prior to that, I'll answer your questions. On the nose, I'm sure a lot of them will pertain to New York City. I feel for the people who bought tickets who feel like they maybe aren't getting what they paid for. There's so many different levels to all of this. I can't wait to get into all of it, so stay tuned for that. Prior to that, we are going to be joined by the aforementioned Tommy Aspinall, who in about 17 days' time is going to be fighting for the interim heavyweight title. Why interim? I have some thoughts on that as well. I think that's not the right call, and I would like to talk about that. Anyway, Tom Aspinall is going to join us at 3 o'clock. At 2:30, Mike Breeden, who had the big win, the nice comeback win on Saturday in Abu Dhabi at UFC 294. Great character. He'll join us at around 2:30. At 2 o'clock, Charles do Bronx Oliveira is going to join us to talk about why he had to pull out of UFC 294. This time, no Luciana as translator. We've got the legendary Fabiano, yes, of UFC television fame. He's going to join us to translate. That's very exciting. I'm looking forward to having him on the show and, of course, talking to Charles. 1:30, Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, all the way from Saudi Arabia, will join us to talk about the Francis Ngannou fight. Stay tuned for that. And if all that isn't enough, let's kick things off with our old friend, the Demolition Man, the Reem, the former Strikeforce heavyweight champion, the former Dream heavyweight champion, the man who has certainly had a legendary career, K1 World Grand Prix champion. I mean, so much, but recently called it a career, said goodbye, and so we had to speak about all of that and more with him. He is kind enough to join us. Without further ado, let us say hello to our old friend, the Reem. Alistair, how are you?
Always amazing, and it's good to see you again, Ariel.
It is great to see you. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it very much. Okay, first things first. Congratulations on an incredible career. Why are you saying goodbye now? Why is this time the right time to call it a career?
25 years. I've been training for 30 years, but my competition years were 25 years. And basically, my body spoke to me. My body didn't want to do that anymore.
Wow.
So, yeah. And that came in the form of after the Butter fight, because, of course, I had in my mind the Rico fight. But then, body didn't want to do that anymore. So energy not there, some injuries, nagging injuries. I would do what I usually did, the physical therapy, but it would work out for 2-3 days. Then I would train again, and then boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you come to that realization? When did it actually hit you that the body just can't take it anymore?
I think like March-ish.
Oh, wow.
March, like, you know what? I'm done with this. And then no more problems with injuries. So it's kind of interesting how that works.
Mm-hmm. So March, I mean, it's October. Why wait so long to announce it?
Because I initially had, okay, if I can keep my body right for 6 months, then I might still be able to fight, right? We're kind of stuck to our patterns.
Mm-hmm.
We want to keep doing what we're doing, even though that might not always be in our best interest.
Okay. And when you made it public, what was that like? What did that feel like?
I actually didn't. I still need to kind of post on social media, but I'm really not much on social media. But already my decision was in March, right?
Okay.
In March already, knew for myself, I'm fed up of this.
Wait, so
because it's, when you get injured, it's also a lot of hurt, it's agony, you're pushing it again. And let's not forget, I've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah,
It's been 30 years of, how I like to describe it now is stress. To fights, extreme stress, to training camp stress. Back to back, always training, always doing it. Yeah, always stress. So now, and actually the last year, because the Balder fight was a year ago, my body actually was allowed to relax, and it came in just in a whole different state. So now I'm calm. I'm out of the stress, and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you go to stress?
No, I don't blame you. I saw a post, though. That's when I reached out to you. Did you not post that? Like when you said, I'm officially announcing my retirement and all that?
I did, and then my wife didn't like the picture, and then we needed to do it again. So, that goes. But I'm still going to post it officially. Nice.
Okay, but you are officially retired?
Yes.
Okay. And, in the fight world, this. People retire, they come back. Can you foresee any scenario where you ever fight again, or do you think that it's definitive you are never going to fight again?
It's over, Arrow. I'm also not interested in fighting anymore.
Okay.
Right? I've had my change. It's now a whole different goals for different things. I'm working on this, a couple of very interesting projects. And that's captured my attention. And then there's just, it's kind of interesting how that kind of fell into play. And new goals. So there's no interest also in, I like to train. I like to stay in shape. I mean, I can still fight, right? I like to teach a little.
Right.
It's not going to be my main thing, but I like to kind of pass on knowledge that I have to next generations. But no interest in fighting.
Okay, and obviously I'm going to ask you about those projects, but I'm just curious, like when the news got out there, were you sad about it, or are you so completely ready to move on with your life that there was no, real emotion, reflection on everything that you've accomplished?
What was the news? The news of me?
The news of you,
retiring?
yeah. I was a little bit sad, end of an era.
Well, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not sad. It was just a realization. It was just a realization that I had to go for to advance to the next stage, right? Because there was always going to come an end to my fighting career. If there wasn't now, it might have been after the next fight, or maybe 2 more, but not any long after that. I've been also occupied with my life after fighting for a very long time. I've studied a lot of other athletes. What are they doing? How does that go? And I kind of mentally prepared myself also for the moment.
Okay. I had seen some photos of you where it seemed like you had lost a lot of weight, but you never know with photos what's real or not. I'm looking at you now, and it does seem like you've lost a lot of weight. Is that accurate? And if so, how much weight have you lost?
I'm like 220 now. What is it? 210, 200. No, not 200. I'm like 210, 220.
Okay.
If you're not going to fight, why would you walk? I mean, I still look good.
Yeah.
Still have a six-pack.
Nice.
I'm still strong. I can still kick ass. But, why would I have another, 20, 30 pounds of weight? Because then you have to eat, and you have to lift heavy. You have to do the things to maintain. And, once I made the decision is done, everything becomes longevity. I want to have, what single was this? Yeah. I want to have longevity. And that's some of the things, some of the projects that I'm working with for the future is longevity programs. What And then obviously a lot of fighters have injuries. I've done a great job in always recovering from the injuries and maintenance. And I'm very happy I did that, because now I actually have a second life, basically. I'm loose, everything is working, brain working. So, yeah.
It's probably been well over a decade since you were this light, though, right?
Light heavyweight was the last time because I'm basically light heavyweight now. That was, when was that? When was that? 2007?
7, yeah. I was going to say 2007, 8. Crazy. Is it true? I had also read, are you now a vegan or plant-based diet? No more meat?
Yes, I've switched my diet around extensively. So I'm still researching a little bit. I've had all these nutritionists, right? 25 different ones. So I'm kind of a nutritionist myself. But for me, I'm still in search of, hey, what is optimally for the body? Raw vegan diet is a very healthy diet. It's a very beneficial diet. If a person would try it for a year, they will also really appreciate, and they'll appreciate all other healthy alternatives as well, because only then you'll find out what the benefits are.
Okay.
It's not a thing, okay, I'm going to do it once. Hey, it doesn't taste good. And now you have to do it for a while for your body to make adaptations, and then you're gonna find it. Even Rashad Evans switched to raw vegan diet, and then he found there was a lot of less inflammation in his body, because what you eating is inflammation, but certain foods inflame less or not. And once you switch to those foods, actually the foods that we are designed for, your whole system will run better and recover.
How long have you been doing that?
I would say it started a year ago, and there has been some chicken here and there, but in general, I stay away from meat. Yes, it's raw vegan diet.
The wild thing about this is, as I've talked to you in the past, like one of my favorite videos in the history of MMA is you in your kitchen eating the horse meat, and that was so tied to your career. And now the idea of Alistair Overeem being on a raw vegan diet is quite the arc in your life.
Yeah. I think describe me as a martial artist who's always learning, and the fighting was just a small piece, but I'm always learning, and I always continue to learn. And once people figure that out, hey, I have my health in my own hands. If I eat the wrong stuff, and if you're doing that for 20, 30 years, you're going to get sick, then people's attitudes will change to what they eat. But still, general public doesn't see this, in my opinion, not yet. Because when people understand that, then it'll change. I understand it.
Do you regret eating so much meat in your career?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's all about knowing, right?
Right.
You like what I did in my 30 years of training and competing and everything. I did the best I could for the time I knew. Yeah, that's the right way to put it. But as time goes on, you learn new stuff. And I'm also trying a lot of stuff with my own body. What is working, what is not working, and then planning according.
Are you also into politics now?
I did indeed join a political party in the Netherlands.
Okay.
Because there's certain things that I believe are not right now. Also in America, by the way. But of course, Holland is home, right? I community here. My daughters are here. I don't agree with that. And instead of complaining, I got asked to join the party. I have affinity with the party leader, Wiebren van Haga. I think he's a good man. I stand behind the party policies. It's just about restoring the Netherlands, restoring it to better, right? Because the way it's going over here is not, some people wouldn't see it, but I think there's a lot of problems. Inflation is one. My mother, for example, not having enough money to do groceries. A lot of people are suffering here. Phone addiction is a very big one. The government is not even talking about that, but that's the thing. We can all see that around us, but there's no investigations. There's no conclusions. There's nothing. There's a lot of money going to Ukraine. While people here are suffering. So there's injustice going on. And instead of just complaining. I was like, yeah, I can contribute to solving these issues, and then I will.
So do you have like a role within this political party, or is it just you supporting them publicly? Like, are you?
And publicly, I will be at some of the gatherings. Of course, media will ask me, "What's your position on this? What's your position on this?" So we'll see what happens. Of course, also one of the main things that I could be useful for is the fact that I have had 30 years of extreme stress and pressure, but I always managed to restore myself, heal myself without the hospital. So this is something I think I can contribute to the argument when we talk about health. Yeah, because I always did it without any pills or without any op surgeries. I only have one surgery. So I'm very proud of that. And I think that can help in the discussion when we're talking about health before another crisis, lockdown situation.
Sure. And potentially down the road, is this something that you would like to take even further, like run for government and actually have a role within the government, be elected?
We'll see how this goes. For now, I'm supporting the party. I always initially wanted to stay out of the politics. That was also a little bit due to, people feel helpless, right? I also felt like, hey, you're not going to change the system anyways. But now I feel like I'm a parent, I'm responsible, and if you're going to be silent, it's also not the ideal thing. So I'm supporting the party, and we'll see where it leads me.
Okay, fascinating. And what is the reception? You know, sometimes when athletes get involved in politics, it's met with, you know, a great reception, and some people don't like it. What has it been like for you? And by the way, correct, I don't know this, so I apologize. Like, I don't know if this is left, right? I don't know what the system is in the Netherlands, but I'm just curious how it has been received. Such a famous person like yourself over there aligning himself.
Yeah, the reception is positive. Again, a new stage, right? I don't have any inclination or any faults. I'm going to change the whole thing. Rather than being humble, I'm just still, looking at the overview. It's interesting to me, but the overall reception is positive. But then again, just still seeing, feeling.
Okay. You mentioned other projects. Can I ask you about that? Like, what are you going to do now that you are done fighting?
I'm actually going to December 1st is coming out. The app against phone addiction.
Oh, I like this. What is that?
Yep.
What does that mean?
It's an app where it's for anybody who feels like, hey, I'm grabbing my phone for no reason. I'm scrolling, and I'm forgetting a little bit the time, or I'm scrolling a little bit sensitively.
Yeah.
Download the app. I'm going to explain everything. I'm going to give you directions to do the detox. It's going to work with accountability partners. It's a good system which will work.
Okay.
And I believe everybody in the world could. I would like them to experience the move I'm offering in this app. It will also be free of charge, by the way.
Wow, I love this. I do think there's a very serious addiction, and it's very scary. I have 3 kids as well, and I see 11, 9, and 7, and I see the way they are with the devices, and it's scary, and it's a fight. This is tremendous. Is this only available in the Netherlands, or will it be available worldwide?
It will be available worldwide,
and
it will be free of charge.
Wow, and this is and you are the front man. This is your thing.
My thing.
Wow. Did someone approach you about this, or did you have the idea and went out to seek people to help you do this?
No, it is a very big problem.
Yes.
And I actually got alerted to it because my daughter, she was also screen addicted, actually already from 4 years old. And I remember she was 4. I was telling the mother we broke up when she was very young. Said she's too much behind her iPad. We need to not have that. We need to restrict that. And I know what she was thinking. Yeah, easy talking, So she allowed that to happen. And I remember, you know what? I'm not going to complain about this anymore. But in 10 years, this is going to be a very big problem. Because if you're addicted to the screen and on that age, and 9.5 years later, my daughter was 14, yet to turn 15. She couldn't go to school anymore. She crashed. So I can go into the specifics, but in the short story, her dopamine receptor structurally got overcommit because of the screen. That's what the screen is doing to you. And once this receptors in the brain, once this gets overcommitted, it doesn't work anymore. And this chemical dopamine is responsible for wanting to do something and doing something. So once this don't work anymore, yeah, my daughter was just sitting crunched up, not able to respond. And to me as a father, that was very scary at first. I rewatched that video more than 100 times. But I just acted as any father would act. My daughter's on attack. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. What is going on here? And it took me also looking at myself. Yeah, my daughter's a lot behind the screen. I'm also a lot behind my phone. Is that what we have in common? My father was also a lot behind the screen. And I decided to break my phone addiction. And there I got a dopamine reset. That's what's that called? And I just felt so happy and so full of energy. My energy went to 2,000%. I just felt great. And yeah, it's this technology is not healthy for us. The only way we're going to find that out is to detox from it, which is not done in a week. You need to put your phone down a month. I'll explain all that in the app, by the way, because there's certain shortcuts that you're not going to be entirely off your phone. You're still going to be able to do some social media and do your things, but just limited.
Yeah.
And yeah, you will have your reset. And then once you have your reset, that's a big game changer for you, because your ability to operate in the real world will greatly enhance. You're gonna feel better, feel great. And listen, there's depression cases are up 4,000%. Nobody's wondering how that comes. It's because of the phone.
Wow. This is incredible. I can't wait to see this app, and I commend you for doing this. This is really, really important stuff, and not enough people are talking about it. So well done, Alistair. Could I ask, as far as your career is concerned, when were you the happiest? What was your career highlight? What was the apex of your run now that you look back on it all?
Yeah, geez. That is a beautiful question. I've had so many beautiful moments. All right. First time Japan, 1999. My first kickboxing fight, 1979. My first fight in Pride. Pride was the best, which was a small Pride, but then the big Pride. That was 2001 and 2002. But then my first title fight, Strike Force. Second time it was bigger.
Yeah.
UFC first Brock. So there's so many beautiful moments. Geez. Yeah, which one? I don't know. It's been a beautiful adventure. That's how I look at it.
It really has. Do you have any regrets? Maybe things that a fight you wish could have happened, didn't happen? A fight, like something that you look back on that you lament, that you think, damn, I wish this would have happened instead of that?
No, I'm totally happy with everything. And even the losses, because the losses, they also propelled me in some kind of direction, growth, mindset change. So it's been, it's been great. I wouldn't change a thing. What could I add? It's like it was 6 world titles, 3 different belts. Yeah, well, no, I'm totally happy with it.
Do you have a favorite fight?
I would say, yeah, which one? Yeah, the Brock fight. I don't know. There's been so many. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just wondering because there's so many new fans. Someone watching this be like, let me go to Overeem at his apex when he was on top. His favorite fight. I'm wondering what you would suggest to someone. Maybe the Brock fight, UFC 140, I think it was, or 141.
K1 finals was nice, right? K1 finals was nice.
Yeah.
The Brock fight was nice. Even the last Badahari fight was nice. Who else we have? The UFC fights were exciting, right? There was also the title run, and then the second run, which got brutally stopped by Ngannou.
Yeah.
Curious about the fight, by the way, with Fury.
Can I ask you, because you know Francis very well, do you think he has a chance?
Not only a chance, I believe he's going to win.
Come on, Alistair. What the hell? Really?
Yeah, because I look at fights a little bit different, right? Of course, being in the game for 30 years. But I look at patterns, I look at little details, I look at it a little bit different. And I think Ngannou is going to surprise the world, shock the world. Listen, also because people underestimate UFC fighters.
Mm-hmm.
They do. MMA fighters, let's call them MMA fighters. There's a lot of details that are in here. And boxes is basically one-dimensional to us. yes, Tyson is the best. Yes, yes, yes. But Francis is big dude. Very big dude.
You might
Very
be the
strong.
first prominent person that I've heard pick Francis, like first fighter that I've heard pick Francis.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think he knocks him out, or do you think he wins a decision?
It's going to be a brutal force KO.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You've just blown my mind.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
And also considering I went in the K1 and people didn't give me
Sure.
5 cents either, but I went in there as well with we have different mindset with MMA guys. It's different. It's different.
So you'll be watching?
Yeah. I actually might even fly out there tomorrow.
Oh, really? You're going to go to Saudi?
Yeah, tomorrow or the day after. Yeah, we're looking at that.
Incredible. To support Francis, or just to watch? Like, are you on Team Francis here? Team MMA?
But this is a nice fight, and we have some business stuff over there. So yeah.
Okay, amazing. By the way, I don't know if you know, but like your name came up a lot over the last couple of weeks when the relationship with USADA came to an end with the UFC, and everyone said, "Oh, Alistair is going to come back," because you've had your history with them too. What do you make of that? What do you make of USADA and UFC going into a divorce?
Yeah, I didn't follow. I don't follow it anymore. All that stuff because it's just busy with other things now. Yeah, so they parted ways.
They
right?
parted ways.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. And why is that even? Why did they part ways?
Conor McGregor, I think, was a big point of contention. He removed himself from the pool, and there was some discussion as to what he would have to do to re-enter the pool or to be cleared to fight. I think Dana White saying a comment recently, a few months ago, no one cares what USADA thinks, I think pissed off USADA. And, he's such a big figure. The UFC, I think, felt like they were targeting him. USADA felt like UFC was trying to maybe bend the rules, and I think that was the breaking point. If that, was that maybe the final nail in the relationship coffin, but I'm sure there were other things along the way. The relationship ends December 31st. So for the next 2 months, there's still a relationship. And then there's a new entity coming in called Drug-Free Sport, which, I'm in favor of. But what I did say, Alistair, was I wish the fighters had a say in this relationship, right? Should the fighters be tested 24/7, 365? Should they have to update an app? It doesn't feel very fair when you're an independent contractor, no?
Listen, I'm out of it, and I have no intention of being dragged. So it is all good. UFC guy. And listen, everybody can do what they want, right? If you fight China UFC, they have their protocol, and it's all up to them.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm glad you're in great spirits. Is there another project you want to mention that you're doing or working on before I let you go? Because it seems like you have a lot.
No, I think we're good. I think we're good.
You think you're okay?
I know.
I'm happy you're okay though. You're healthy though, right? I was a little bit worried. I will be honest because of everything's.
I am the healthiest I've ever been.
Okay.
And this number strong, right?
This is amazing.
I train because I like. I like I'm still in the gym, still teaching. We have the exciting new projects. Wife is happy, getting married.
Oh,
so that's all good stuff.
When's the wedding?
And before the summer, right before the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do a very nice wedding in Croatia.
Great. It's interesting. I don't check my mail, but I didn't get a save the date card or anything. Did I not make the cut, or what's?
Did I get a save the date?
Well, I mean, I got married before I knew who you were. I got married 2008. Before I knew, like, we had a friendship.
Who I was.
I knew who you were. I knew but I wasn't an MMA guy.
You knew who I was.
So you didn't get Alistair. What great memories we've had together, right? What great memories.
And we're gonna make more. Listen, we're not done. We're just getting started. The most beautiful is still to come.
I love that. And last thing, are you going to be coaching anything like that, or just on the periphery?
There's certain fighters that I help, that I have a relationship with, and yes, I like to stay involved in them. Do I need to? Do I want to? Yes, I want to. Do I need to? But if it's nice, and if I feel like, hey, this is like a good connection, it's all connection based, right?
Okay.
It's all energy based. So I'm helping some people that I know and have a good feeling with, and and if it works out, if I'm too busy because I'm not a coach, right? I'm doing that as a friend, and we'll see where it takes me.
Much love, Alistair. Congratulations on an incredible Hall of Fame, legendary career. What a joy and pleasure it was truly to get to know you and to cover your fights. And you're always so kind to me and accessible. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you once again for coming on. And I wish you the best of luck in this new chapter. Congratulations on everything you got going on. Obviously the wedding, but all the projects, incredible. And please stay in touch. Don't be a stranger.
We'll stay in touch here. You know how that goes.
All right. Thank you.
I'm only one button away.
I appreciate it. All the best to you.
Thank you.
You're the man. There he is, Alistair Overeem. What a legend. And some really fun projects he's got going on. I love that, especially the app one. I have to admit, it's a scary thing. Any parent knows that it's a very scary thing. There's a lot. Oh boy, there's a lot to be worried about. And from the the time that they spend on the screen, but also what they're looking at. It's the Wild West out there. And so I love the fact that Alistair is getting behind this. I love to hear that he is healthy. I love to hear that he's in great spirits. I love to hear that he has no regrets. It's all very good stuff. I love everything about it. What a legend. Some of you new fans who are just getting into MMA now may not be so familiar with what this man did. Like, he's dropping 1999 in there. He's dropping 2001 in there. He's dropping Pride in there. Like that, there's only truly Last of the Mohican stuff. Like, there's only so many of those guys left in the sport that have connections to 1999, connections to 2001, connections to all this stuff. It's pretty remarkable. So kudos to him on a great career, and I can't wait to see what he does next. All right, now let's go from the Netherlands to Saudi Arabia. On Monday, we spoke to Francis Ngannou. We had to get the other side of the story. Of course, it's the biggest fight of the weekend. It's one of the biggest fights of the year. It's MMA versus boxing one more time. It's the undisputed Lineal MMA heavyweight champion going up against the undisputed Lineal, in my opinion, boxing heavyweight champion. It's Tyson versus Francis. It's Fury versus Ngannou. Let's speak to the Gypsy King now. My old friend Tyson Fury. Hello, Tyson. How are you?
Hello there. I'm very, very well. Very well. I'm pretty pissed, though, that you've got a Francis Ngannou boxing glove right there, but you don't have a Tyson Fury anything.
You bring up a great...
So fuck you!
I love you too, Francis. Excuse me, Tyson. His team sent me. Why didn't you guys send me anything? That's not fair. I'm just trying to promote the event.
I'm going to send you a massive Tyson Fury signed penis.
Oh. A Corey?
You can put it right on display, right there, near your name.
A Corey? Is that what you call... Isn't it called a Corey or something?
Yeah, we call it a Corey in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
England.
Fair enough. Well, I'm very excited about this. And honestly, I must say, I don't know if I know you're a big fan of the show. You probably watch every episode. I would say that the MMA community has been a lot more receptive and kind to this fight than your boxing community, and especially the boxing media. Would you agree with that, Tyson? Does it feel like the MMA community is more excited and talking and covering this fight and talking about all the elements going to the fight, as opposed to the negativity of the boxing media and community?
I've not really felt any negativity of late. When it was first announced, people were pretty pissed, but as it's got going, it's been nothing but positive. Like, every media outlet in the UK and boxing media outlets from around the world, they're all talking about it, and they've got it all over the stations, and it's been pumped up really, really big. And the Saudis have spent like tens of millions of dollars promoting it, so it's very, very, very big. And we're expecting a massive, massive numbers on Saturday night. We're expecting a massive fight, good fight.
Were you surprised by the criticism initially?
Haters gonna hate, but it doesn't stop me making tens of millions of dollars. So it is what it is. I'm not the type of person to hate on somebody if they're making tons of money. I'd wish them well, and I'd work harder so I could make tons of money also. But not everybody's like me. So yeah, all those people who are sick that I'm making millions of dollars, massive fuck you to every one of you.
And I don't know if they were mad, at least my perspective, that you were making money or not. I think most people are rooting for fighters to make money. Of course. I would think, at least that's what I feel. But I'm just wondering if the reaction was, they would prefer you do something else, and really didn't recognize how big of a deal this fight was, how historic it was. Did that frustrate you, that people couldn't recognize that an MMA heavyweight champ versus the boxing heavyweight champ was something worth watching?
No, I don't take what other people want into my account, because I've said this many times in many different interviews, but if I'd listened to negative comments and other people's wants, I wouldn't have never been in this position today. I wouldn't be undefeated for 15 years. and I won't be making a shit ton of money, and I won't be the biggest star in sports. So I don't take much attention to what other people want or what their negative opinions are. I concentrate on what the Gypsy King wants, and I concentrate on what my goals are, not what other people's negative shit is. I've got enough problems in my life to deal with without taking the world's problems on also. So I just stay in my own lane, keep my head down, look after my family, train hard, fight easy, and get paid. That's all I do. And we call it, in the trade, getting paid and getting laid. And that's how we do it.
Yes, GDP. Get that paper.
That's how we do it. That's how we get down in Morecambe Town.
Okay, fair enough. Can I ask you, what about this fight, other than getting paid a whole lot, interested you?
Yeah. When I had the opportunity to fight Francis, it hasn't just come overnight. It's been years in the making, going back and forth on Twitter and Instagram, and even came to my Dillian White fight at Wembley back in 2021. Yeah, I couldn't get a boxing opponent that I thought was worthy enough to challenge, i.e. Joshua, Wilder or Usyk. So, Francis stepped up and we took that fight. And it is what it is. Like it or loathe it, me and Francis are making money out of it. And I'm sure it's going to do a shit ton of views on Saturday night.
I love everything about that, especially from Francis's perspective, because I know that he made $600,000 for his last UFC heavyweight title fight, which is an appalling number. And we've been covering him for a very long time, obviously, here. And when he left the UFC and parted ways after they tried to sign him to fight Jon Jones, a lot of people, even in the boxing community, said he was crazy for trying to get a boxing match against you, or even a Joshua, or even a Wilder. And by the time he announced in May, Tyson, that he was signing with the PFL, they still said he was crazy. It was only when he announced the fight against you, or when this was announced, that people really understood the vision. Did you pay attention to any of that stuff, the criticism that he was getting, that he was, everyone was crapping on this guy, kicking him, saying he fumbled the bag, and knowing that there was a fight in the works between you and him, what was your reaction to all of that?
I'm not too sure of the comments that he fumbled the bag, because 600,000 is his biggest person. 600,000 is a hell of a lot of money, but not for the heavyweight champion of the world. It's not that much money. But if I was to try and earn 600,000 from a normal 9-to-5 job, probably take me about 452 years. But for the heavyweight champion of the world, I think Francis and everybody else in sport knows that if after winning the UFC heavyweight championship, then to go on and box any heavyweight ranked in the top 10, he was probably going to make a lot more than 600,000. So that's one point to point out. And another point is, I'm sure I read and heard that when he was leaving, he was offered $8 or $10 million to fight Jon Jones.
Collectively.
I'm not sure how true that was.
Yeah, I don't know how true it was. Maybe collectively for a 3-fight deal, not on a one shot.
Well, I think him and John is worth definitely more than 10 million.
Agreed.
For sure.
Agreed.
I would definitely say him and Jon Jones is at least a 10 million each fight, for sure. Not collectively, not to do 10 fights each or whatever, just on a one-off single fight. I would love to believe that does a lot more than 10 million each on pay-per-view. And that's the fight that after I fight him, then I'm sure he'd love to go and fight John, or maybe not. Maybe he wants to do something else. I'm not sure, but yeah, there's a lot of different reasons why he's left the UFC and gone to PFL, and now he's fighting Tyson Fury. But I think it was an absolute genius move, because if he goes to boxing and he loses to me, which he will lose to me, then he's collected $10 million, a career high payday, and he hasn't really damaged his reputation. Then he can still go back to the PFL and fight people in the cage, or he can still go and fight Jon Jones. I'm sure people would still be interested in him versus Jon Jones in a cage for the championship of UFC after I've knocked him out. So it's a no lose situation.
Do you think we'll ever see a day where the MMA heavyweight champion is making as much as what you're making, where it's even close?
I'm not too sure. I don't know the official numbers for the UFC, and I don't know what the deals are. I'm not involved in their negotiations, but it's to make 600K for a fight for the heavyweight championship. It's about what I got paid to fight Klitschko, so it's not that much low. It's not that low. I think to to win the heavyweight championship, then keep defending it. And you got to take on some big names and create a name and create a fan following and be involved in big fights. And that's how you get big money.
A lot of people are dismissing his chances. They're downright mocking him when they see the sparring footage and whatnot. When you see this stuff, when you see whatever is being put out, obviously you're not seeing his sparring, but you're seeing some videos, I'm assuming, here and there. What do you make of the skills that you are seeing?
I think he's about level to the other heavyweights that I've fought. Big, strong guy with a puncher's chance. That's all they ever are to me. Big, strong guys with a puncher's chance. I've never really met anybody who can outskill me in boxing or even come close to matching my skill. But they all heavyweights have a puncher's chance. So, yeah, he's always got a puncher's chance. But whoever I would be fighting, I'd be 100% confident and call him a bum and a sausage. And he ain't worth a carrot. And he's going to get knocked out. So, yeah, nothing different here. I think Ngannou has got a kind of mental problems when it comes to taking his top off. Because even though we think he looks in shape, I think he's got body dysmorphia and he thinks he's fat when he's ripped. So that could play a massive part in this fight. Him thinking he's fat, embarrassed to take his top off in public.
What? What do you mean? What makes you think that?
Because he never gets his top off. And if I had a body like that, I'd have my top off in the rain, in the snow, every day. I've got my top off all the time and I'm fat as fuck. So imagine if I had Francis's body.
That's true. What is it like? Everyone in the world saying you're going to smoke this guy, and you just did a 12-week training camp. You have to convince yourself not to believe these people, right? You can't, it's not like there's a risk the way people are talking about it. How do you block that out?
I never listen to the people. I never listen to anybody. Like I say, their opinions don't have any sway with me at all. I've trained as hard as I can train for Francis because I never leave any stones unturned. And I've trained for a 10-round war. And if it's anything less, then I'll have a bonus. But if it's not, then I have the reserves in the tank to go the distance at a phenomenal pace, throwing a lot of punches, power punches per round. And we all know that I can do the 12-round distance at a flying canter. So you can't listen to betting odds. You can't listen to what the pundits say or the boxing people or anybody because they're not in there on the night. And if you start listening to people who are not boxing, then it's a time you fail. And I don't take anybody lightly. I've seen so many times in this sport, especially where people fight people they're supposed to beat. They're always looking at the bigger picture, right? I'm looking at fighting. I will use somebody as an example. I will use Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, there was always talk of him fighting me or Wilder. And he gets through this fight, he's going to fight Wilder. He gets through this fight, he's going to fight Tyson. He fights Andy Ruiz on 2 weeks' notice. And he ends up getting knocked out. The odds going in were astronomical. Everybody thought he was going to smoke the guy. All the so-called boxing experts, all the pundits, all the media, everybody. This is his putting his toe in the American waters. This is a show for the American fight fans. And what happens? He gets knocked spark out. And then he goes home crying, and that's it. Had a knockout defeat. But I never, ever, ever do that, no matter who I'm fighting. If I was fighting somebody in a local bar and I knew I had to fight the guy in 6 weeks, guy not even from a combat sport, I would train hard because you never know what that guy's going to bring. And never mind someone from a bar, I'm fighting an absolute killer in Francis Ngannou, a 6'4" or 5'2", 70, 80-pound guy who's come from the streets, come from wherever he's from, Cameroon, sleeping on the floor. I read somewhere that he was in Paris eating rats off the street. So this guy is hungry. This guy's got a point to prove. Do you think I'm going to not train for him? Come in at like 400 pounds? I don't think so. I've trained as hard for him as I did for any other fighter I've ever fought. And at this level, you don't get no second chances. So better to prepare for the hardest fight ever, and it not be, than prepare for an easy fight and it's a war.
Could I ask how much do you expect to weigh on Friday?
I think I'll be around 270 pounds.
Okay. He told me around 275 for himself, so you'll be pretty equal.
We'll be about equal, yeah. I might be a bit heavier, depending on how much water I've drunk in that day. George usually likes me to drink a couple of gallons of water a day. So, yeah, it's quite heavy when you've got that amount of water in your stomach. So, yeah, probably about 270, 275. But I'm in great shape, and I've had a lot of good sparring, a lot of good training, and I'm injury-free. So Francis is fighting a very good Tyson Fury at the top of his game. There's no excuses coming from here, and I'm on a seek and destroy mission. And he shouldn't be that hard to find. He's a big lump, big head for me to hit. And yeah, let's see if he can stand up to the power of the Jiu-Jitsu King.
And you're referring, of course, to the great George Lockhart, one of the best nutritionists in combat sports. I want to keep it 100 with you, Tyson, because I know you appreciate that, as the kids say.
I appreciate it, yeah.
You know, I don't know if a show, an outlet, a media person has been more in favor of this fight, to the point where people were actually blaming me for Francis leaving the UFC because I was saying that he deserves to do this sort of thing. But so I've been very positive about this, but there's one thing that I would say would be criticism, and I'd love to get your response. I did say that I thought it was very disrespectful to the event, the fight, and to Francis to announce the Usyk fight before this fight, because you never know what could happen in a fight, as you just said.
Agreed.
Thank you. And so why did that happen?
It wasn't my choice. I would never in a million years do that. But the people who are putting these fights on, who's paying the money, they're in control. They're the promoters of the event. So the paymaster does what the paymaster wants, basically. But if it was up to me, I would have never, ever, ever done that, ever. Because I never count chickens before they hatch. Never. So yeah, I totally agree with you, 100%.
Okay, and so what did that, like, how did you react to that when this is out? Because this goes against everything that you always say, right? You always say, I'm not looking past this guy. And now all of a sudden, we're being told, oh, there's a bigger fight coming down the line or another fight coming down before this one has already happened. So how did you react to the news coming out?
I wasn't happy at first to announce it, but there was a lot going on in the background, and for me, it's just I don't concentrate on any other fight other than Saturday night, and what happens in the future stays in the future. I'm living it for today and in this moment, and my moment now is to fight Francis for the baddest man on the planet title. And when I've won that, only after I've won that, I won't even think about my next fight until I've had a week off, spent some time with my family, been in camp 12 weeks. And then I'll think about what's happening next.
So it's not going to be a situation where, let's say you win on Saturday, they're going to announce a date. That won't happen. I'm
not really sure what's going to happen.
Okay.
I'm not privy to them conversations because I'm in camp obviously for this big fight. So, like I totally agree with what you said. I totally agree. They should never announce fights before the first one's happened, because that's how people get knocked out. But I'm not even looking at the next fight. I'm only concentrating on Francis. And if it means breaking these two hands and getting a cut right through there to win, I will do it.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
And
nothing else matters, only Saturday night.
And am I correct in thinking that if he shocks the world and beats you some way, somehow, I know this isn't something that you want to, think about, but if it happens, you'd rather rematch him than fight Usyk. Am I crazy for thinking that?
100%. But as we stand today, there's no rematch clause either way.
Wow. Nothing.
So if he knocks me out cold on Saturday night, I'll have to be begging him like this, please give me a rematch.
Why? Why no rematch clause?
Just no rematch clause. I hate rematch clauses.
Yeah.
Rematch clauses have tied my career up for so long and cost me a lot of millions of dollars in court cases. And I always say, like, we don't need a rematch. If the first fight is good, then both participants would surely want a rematch. If it's a shit fight, then it's not deserving of a rematch.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate when champions do this rematch clause. Obviously, I know why it is. It's for double payday. But they go into the first fight and they already announce, oh, there's a rematch clause. So it takes all the emphasis off the first fight. No one cares about the first fight. Oh, shit, there's a rematch clause anyway. Let's see who wins the second fight. That's the one that really counts. And I believe in these massive fights. Like, it was one of the stumbling points for me and Usyk the last time. They were desperate for a rematch clause. And I said, the fight of the century, why the fuck does he need a rematch clause? Let the winner go home with all the belts and the loser go home with his dick in his hand. And they didn't want to do that. It was just as risky for me as it is for them to lose the fight and go home empty-handed. But they didn't want to do it. So I believe it takes the total interest of a one-off event away from the first fight when they start announcing, oh, there's a rematch clause. So it's like, well, the first fight's not important. It's what happens in the second fight.
I like that. Just want to ask you a couple more questions. I know you're tight on time over there, so if you don't mind. I saw you in Manchester. I was there as well. I thought your brother's assessment, Shane's assessment of your other brother, Tommy Fury's fight, was very honest and hard not to respect him being that honest after the fight. Can I ask what your assessment was of his fight against KSI and in particular his performance against KSI?
Well, I can be brutally honest because we always are. The fact that Tommy made $10 million at this fight, he's 24 years old, probably made $26 million out of his 10-fight career. It's unbelievable. Like, I'm very, very proud of where he's come from. In 2018, Tommy didn't have $10 for a bus pass. Today, Tommy's got a hell of a lot of money, millions of dollars in his account. So I'm very proud of him. He can buy what he wants. He's got a $5 million mansion, G-Wagons, Lambos, Rolexes. Guy's flying. Regardless of the fights, all these fights he's had with Jake Paul and whoever else, you know, it's show business. These fights, KSI, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, all these guys, Dylan Danis, whoever these influencers are and YouTubers and all that, this is show business. This is bringing millions of eyes to the boxing world, and the boxing world should be very appreciative of it. They could have picked any sport to train for. They could have picked MMA, and MMA would have got all the views and all the eyes. So I'm happy that all these guys have come into boxing, my chosen sport, and that they're bringing new fans, like young kids, young girls, young boys, families. It was crazy, the amount of people there the other night that were full families, kids. I never see them young people at boxing events. So it's a new crowd, and I'm very, very happy that these people are bringing them in, and I hope they do loads more fights, and Tommy as well. And I said this today or yesterday in an interview. Whoever the cruiserweight world champion is, WBC, WBA, whoever they are, they would be over the moon to fight Tommy for their title. Whoever I know who the light heavyweight champion is, Bivol and Beterbiev, they're not making the amount of money that Tommy's making. They would be honoured to fight Tommy for their belts. So this game is called prize fighting. We fight for a big prize. So regardless of how you're getting this prize or who you got to fight to get it, the ultimate aim is to get the prize. And Tommy has been doing that. So whether people want to slate his performance or say it was fantastic, either way, it doesn't really matter because he got paid and he moves on to the next one. These fights for Tommy and Jake and KSI, they're like their world title fights. That's how much it means to them. Everything's on the line. Emotions are flying. These boys are training really hard for these fights, and they deserve all the money they get because I know how hard and lonely boxing and the fight game and training is. It's not no plaything, even at that level. It's hard at any level. Combat sport, amateur MMA or world championship MMA, if that's your level, then, you know, it's very difficult. We all know that the combat sports is difficult, and I just wish that all combatants in all these fight sports were making good money, because it's no secret that average MMA fighters or average boxers don't really get an opportunity to make any money. They can't make a career out of it. They have to work other jobs as well, and it's one of those things. Not everybody can be world champions. Not everybody can make millions of dollars. But I just wish that there was a few more dollars for all the fighters and things, and better than what they get. Because sometimes it's hardly worth training. Some of these fighters are. I know in boxing this happens. Like a fighter will pay to go on a show. He'll not earn any money. He will pay out his own money to fight. I'm not sure if that happens in MMA. George said it doesn't happen.
Not really.
You always get paid.
Yeah, I mean sometimes nothing,
boxing,
but yeah.
Yeah, in boxing, sometimes the boxers have to pay to fight.
Wow. So
it's tough, and then they try and build up a few fights, and then try to get another fight for some money, a TV fight or whatever. I know it's very tough, and I've been very blessed in my career and life because I've never had to experience that. I was always on TV and I was always getting paid. But I know a lot of fighters in the trade who are not getting paid and who wasn't getting paid. And the guy who's now just been announced to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world, Tom Aspinall, I remember when Tom was fighting professional at MMA and he wasn't making any money. And he always believed in himself, and he always was like, I can do it, I can win the championship. And now I look at him and like he's taking over the game and he's so big now, and now he's getting an opportunity to fight for the championship. It makes me happy, makes me proud. And you know what, like if someone like Tom, I remember when he didn't have any money and when he was struggling to get fights and he couldn't get any fights for any money, and now he's got an opportunity to fight for the championship, and so can so many other fighters do it as well. So it's a brilliant story.
It's incredible. I just have two last questions for you, and one of them was about Tom. He's actually joining us in an hour, and I know you have a great relationship with him. This isn't a thing that we see in boxing, people taking title fights on 2 weeks' notice and whatnot. But I didn't even know if you knew about the news because you've been so entrenched over there. I'm just wondering what your reaction is and what your message would be to him. Perhaps we could play it for him later on.
You know, this is a massive, massive opportunity for Tom. And we come from nearly the same area, just a couple of miles away from each other. And I know how hard and how long he's trained for an opportunity like this. And to take it on a short notice and save the event, really, because I know John or one of them has been injured. Who was actually injured? Was it John?
John tore his pec.
John. Oh, there you go. Then it's a bad injury. So to step in on short notice, both guys, and keep the event going and keep everybody getting paid, and there's a championship on the line, and it definitely can be done. And the other guy's no slouch. He's got a fight. He's a good fighter. But I've always said since Tom started in the UFC, I've always said he's capable of winning the heavyweight championship of the world, and this is his opportunity to go there, seize it with both hands, and immortality awaits.
I love it. Last thing, how are you doing? And usually that's the question that I would start the interview with, but mentally up here, are you happy? Are you content? Do you feel like you're in a good place?
Yeah, I'm very good. I'm very happy. Well, I strike happy because I've said this quite a bit now. I don't believe happiness is a real thing. I believe it's a byproduct of achieving something, whether it may be small or big. If you're set to achieve something, you'll feel joy from it. And I'm not sure that being happy is something that I ever want to be, because I always want to be just setting goals and achieving them, big or small, and then I'll get like a joy feeling from that. But other than that, I'm feeling good. I'm in great shape, mentally, physically, emotionally. I've just had a little boy born.
Congratulations.
Child, and I've not seen him. He's 6 weeks old. I've seen him 3 times in 6 weeks. So that's how serious I've been with this training camp.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this fight done, winning, being victorious, and then going home and having some time with my family, because I've been away for a long time again. 12 weeks is a long time in little kids' life.
Amen.
And I miss me dogs too. I miss me dogs.
Don't we all? The dogs are the best. Good luck to you, Tyson. I really appreciate the time as always. Can't wait for this. And I look forward to that big Corey, the signed Corey that you'll be sending us. I'll put it right here proudly on the desk. Okay. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right.
All the best, guys. God bless.
There he is, the great Gypsy King, who is headlining the Battle of the Baddest on Saturday against the one and only Francis Ngannou. I will admit, can I shoot straight? Can I break the fourth wall, Frank?
You're gonna have to.
Just as I was like setting up the Tyson interview, I saw the glove to my right.
Oh man! That's when you just knock it off real quick.
Well,
like, oh wow!
and then I got the message that Joe was setting it up, and I was like, well, you know what? Maybe the shot is a different. Maybe we were feeding him this one, and I was like, maybe he can't really tell.
Yeah. Well,
that's the first thing he noticed, huh?
Made for a good moment.
You think so? Okay. I mean, I thought I might have lost him there in that moment, right? I thought he was gonna.
Chance.
But can I just mention? I mean, not a lot of people would say like I wanted to shoot straight with him, and what does he do?
He backed up what you thought.
He agrees. Can we go back to that breakout clip where it's like Ariel Helwani says Francis, and see all the people that were saying like I'm just being a ninny or a whiner or anything like that, and I'm happy. So look, I get it from, let's say it's, let's say it was Saudi's call. Let's say it was the people behind Riyadh season. I get why you want to put everything out there. This is a big thing. My understanding of Riyadh season is kind of like, there used to be a thing. I don't really think it's a thing anymore. Like where the World's Fair would come to a city. Expo. There was Expo 67 in Montreal back in the day that led to the Montreal Expos, in case you didn't know. And every country would have a thing, and it was a huge deal. And so Riyadh season feels like it's something like that, although it's much longer. It goes from this weekend, it starts, to March. And so I understand they want to put everything, right? Like there's Crown Jewel, WWE next weekend. There's clearly boxing. There's horse racing. There's this, that, and the other. Let me see here. Okay. In any event, I just got like an ominous text there that I'm not really sure what it is all about, other than the message that I got to wrap up the interview 10 minutes ago, which I did not see as well. But these things happen in MMA. So I understand why the promoter would want that out there. I understand why they would want to do this. But I'm glad at least that Tyson said, and I think I saw Frank Warren also say that they were not like that they would have preferred to announce it afterwards. So it feels like we're all aligned. The promoter wants it out there. Get that. They're not traditional boxing promoters. But the fighter and his camp would prefer not to have it out there. We can't use Google Meets, can we?
We can't.
Okay. They're asking if we can use Google Meets. Can you do me a favor, Joe? You have a contact for Charles. I'm texting with her now, but this isn't making for great television. You have the woman who is his
Yes.
person. Yes. If you could just call her, maybe. I don't know. They're asking for Google Meet, but we can't use that. I don't know what's the difference.
We'll take care of it.
Yes, that would be great. That would be great. I believe her name is Louisa. You have Louisa's number? Yes? No?
That sounds right.
Okay, cool. All right, well, hopefully in a moment, we are going to be joined by the great Charles Dubronx, so stay tuned for that. After that, we're going to be joined by Mike Breeden, and after that, we're going to be joined by Tommy Aspinall, who, of course, we found out on, well, it depends on what time zone you're in. It might have been very late Tuesday night. It probably was for the rest of the world Wednesday morning or even Wednesday afternoon. To the news that Tom Aspinall is not going to be fighting Sergey Pavlovich for the interim heavyweight title on November 11th at Madison Square Garden. And the co-main event now for UFC 295. The main event, of course, is going to be Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. For those wondering about pay-per-view points, I am being told that Yuri is getting pay-per-view points. So at least someone is benefiting from what should be a solid card. I feel bad for the ticket buyers who thought they were hoping to get John Jones versus Stipe. But as they always say in the fight business, cards subject to change. Now, when we usually have Portuguese-speaking fighters, certainly as of late, and they didn't have someone who can translate for them, we've had our good friend Luciana Andrade on the program. Well, this time, we don't have Luciana, who is a quasi-interpreter, if you will. We have maybe the greatest, best in the business, legendary, iconic, often imitated, never duplicated, inimitable, Fabiano Buskei, who, of course, you may know from the UFC broadcast. He has so much passion, so much emotion, so much zest, so much energy when translating. And these are the best because sometimes you have someone who makes it shorter. No, this is a real treat to have Fabiano join us. So he's going to be joining us to translate for Charles when he joins us in a matter of moments. But since we have this brief moment here, I thought it would be fun to have Fabiano on to talk about just how good he is at this gig. Fabiano, my guy, how are you? It is great to see you. Great to have you on.
First of all, I guess I owe you like $100 or something like that. If you want to be my publicist, I don't have one, so thank you. So I've never been. I need a wingman at the bars.
Yes,
it'd be great.
I would be happy to be that guy. I could be a great wingman.
Thank you.
You're so good at your job.
I'm going to Toronto next week. Actually, I'm going to Toronto next week for my full-time job. So why not?
Okay, what is your full-time job, by the way?
I work in the travel industry. I work in travel and tech. I work for a company out of Spain. It's based out in Orlando, United States, and I've been in the travel industry for quite some time. It's a company called Hotel Beds. That's out of it's a travel tech company. Yeah.
And they're okay with you moonlighting as the UFC translator guy?
I mean, I've said this many times. Many of those people are married. Many have kids. Many have pets. You allocate all that time that they spend on on family and pets, and all I have is football season and fighting. It doesn't even add up to what I have more free time than they do.
Yes, I heard you're a big NFL fan. Who's your team?
Yes, I'm an Eagles fan, so apologies in advance.
Eagles fan? Were you one of those bandwagon jumpers?
No. I go back to the days of like the Fog Bowl.
Oh,
my first game.
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of go. I go back to before the Bills even started going to Super Bowls.
Wow, what a shot there. You could have said losing Super Bowls, but I appreciate you say going. You just said going, not losing.
I was an exchange student actually when I came to America, south of Jamestown, New York.
Wow.
So the Bills have always been my AFC team. So just want to let you know that I was there. I know the pain.
That's very kind of you. And were you born in Brazil?
Born and raised in Curitiba, land of Shogun brothers, Wanderlei Silva, where Anderson Silva trained, and so many others. Shoot the box, right?
Yeah, Chris Cyborg as well, I believe, right? Isn't it pronounced Curitiba? I always heard people say Curitiba.
What?
Right?
Isn't that amazing? It pays to have Luciana.
Yes.
I should take you down to Brazil so that you teach half of our country when they misspell it. They say Curitiba. Like, listen, it's Curitiba.
Yes.
That's the way.
Thank you.
You got it.
Yes, and I hope you know you have very big shoes to fill. I mean, Luciana has done a great job. I don't know if you've seen her work, but for someone who doesn't do this, typically not bad, right?
I mean, she just stepped on the role and just did it, and I think it's kind of a plot to get me out of the job. So, I mean, she wants to tackle the world, but hey, I just told her if she continues to do this, I'm gonna just put on some more revealing wear and become the UFC's first Octagon boy.
Yes, Octagon boy, that would be tremendous. I told her when she writes notes, she does I think a better job. Do you write down anything, or I know in the cage you don't do that, but like if you do like a longer thing, do you write, or is it all off the top of your head? And if so, what are the tricks to remembering, especially when the answers are very long?
When people ask me, I've been in the corporate world for quite some time. So you kind of, if you end up being, you may leave corporate for a gig or for a part of your life, but corporate never leaves you. So I put everything on a virtual PowerPoint presentation, and any names that are mentioned, I put it in caps. Any big important words that are said repeatedly, I put it in bold. I may put some verbs in italic if that's exactly how my friends and those who receive WhatsApp messages from me get those WhatsApp messages. I use all the resources, and I just hope to get through the slide, man. I just hope to get through the slide because sometimes it's a broadcast. So apologies to all of those that, in moments I have, I didn't get through everything, but it's a broadcast. And when I see things speeding up, I try to speed up and try to give as much context as possible.
And could I ask, how did you get the UFC job?
Luciana.
What a man.
She has known me for years. See, we're both from, listen, this is the ultimate. I've always believed in this, and I've always heard this from a lot of people. But when it finally happens to you, you understand. It really doesn't matter who you know. It matters who knows you.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I've been a translator for many years. I've always been into translating content. I've always into putting content to all three languages and actually trying to cover the Americas in all my jobs. I always went for languages. I pride myself in the way I enjoyed the culture, a culture that is sometimes because of the relationship between Brazil and the United States. We don't see our brothers in Hispanic Latin America the same way, and I did very early on. I lived in Florida. So I speak the official language of Florida, which is Spanish. I worked for Disney for many years in the guest service area. Being in corporate and being in travel, you really need Spanish. So I had all of that. When Luciana met me, we go back to bars in Brazil a long time ago. I've known her for it was going to be 15 years. I was actually working for a translating company with editing translations. I was working with editing literary and technical translations and corporate content. I was doing seminars in which instead of having the guy be translated in the back of the room by simultaneous translators, I would learn what the product was about and the way, the mannerisms of the speaker. So I would actually do the same thing. So it wouldn't take twice as long for the seminar to go, but like 1.5 times. And people really enjoyed it. It related to them, and I kind of looked like the guy. I was the product manager as well and the sales manager, so it helped. Even when I saw bars, and Luciano witnessed this many times, I was always many times I forgave like the opportunity to enjoy nights, because to me the enjoyment was actually connecting people. So many times I've been in situations where the people didn't speak, and I was like the bridge, and I felt so proud of that. I've always liked it so much, and it became a job. And she knew about it. She knew I lived in Vegas. She knew I had a remote job, and she apparently saw some translations being done. She's like, you know what? He's a translator. I know that they were looking for a local because of the pandemic, the UFC wasn't traveling, and we knew we were going to be traveling for a while. So they always asked around, do you know people that are local? Do you know local resources that speak the language? She goes, well, I know this guy who speaks Portuguese, English, and Spanish, and some Italian. He lives in Vegas. He has a remote job. He's free, loves sports, and he loves sports. So it would be great. So, hey, here it is. And she asked for my resume, and in 24 hours, someone from the UFC got in touch and said, I really like your experience. Would you like to come in for a test?
Wow.
And the rest has been, it's been a wild ride. I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be where I am now. I would be talking to you. I wouldn't have this opportunity. It's amazing. Amazing.
It's an amazing thing, and it's amazing how much the fans love you and show you so much respect and admiration. Were you an MMA fan when you got the gig, or did you?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, obviously not to the point that I watch every fight now, but I mean, it shows. I always call myself a first fight kind of guy, because there's so many Latinos that are putting the first fight of the card. So I'm going to be there regardless. Even if I have like the 6th fight to cover, I'm always there. So I watch them all. Like, I'm there for them all. I've called MMA for a long time the football of fighting. It's fast paced. It gives you 5 minutes to shine in 3 rounds or 5 rounds. It is the only instance in all the sports that people can say, hey, Tyreek Hill let's put Tyreek Hill to run against Usain Bolt. Like, I always talked about Chad Ochocinco against him, right? That's running. He's not playing football, right? That's a different story. You get a tight end against an NBA guy. They're going to do something, but they're not going to be doing the same thing. MMA actually gets people from different disciplines and different sports in the same place. It is the regimented Mortal Kombat like we saw when we were kids. It's amazing. And to have the opportunity to see and watch fights next to these people. I mean, I watch it next to Dean Thomas. I watch it next to Alan Jaban. I watch it next to Anthony Smith all the time. So you learn so much, and like that insurance commercial that says we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. You see things and you're like, oh my God, I saw that. And I saw that last week, and I saw that a year ago, and you start seeing it in 3.5 years in. You've seen some things, right? You've seen some things, and I've been witnessing history, nothing short of history.
And which was your first event officially?
My first event officially was on August 22nd, 2020. It was a fight night. It was Munoz against Edgar.
Okay.
That was remote.
Yes.
That was remote. It was always remote. And every week there would be a new wrinkle to it. We were going to a hotel. We were being tested. Tests were being cleared. And Saturday morning, if you're clear, you'll be able to go to the Apex. And things started changing. And towards June of 2021, I was asked, would you like to travel? Would you be available to travel domestically for us? And there we are, Adesanya Vittori 2, Figueiredo Moreno 2, and look at it, Leon Edwards against Nate Diaz.
Yes, what a fight.
And we go to Glendale, and that event, this is the fun fact. the weeks before, we were already doing away with the whole going to the room and being remote. So I actually made it to the octagon a couple of times. The Brazilian fighter lost by decision. There was one fight that was actually close, and there was a knockout towards the end. And on that night, another Brazilian fighter lost. The first time I got into the octagon, there were 19,000 people. It was my first time going in there on camera, was to actually translate for the losing party, which is Davidson Figueiredo, after he got rear naked choked by Brandon Moreno. And what a moment, because I got up there and I looked to my side and it's like Dana White, Joe Rogan, myself, and I'm like, hey, do it like Barry Sanders, like act like you've been there before, right?
Yeah.
So I looked at Dana and said, hey, first ever Mexican-born fighter champion. This is amazing. He goes, I know, right? He was like, oh my God, okay, I'm in. This is like, there's all right, the adrenaline. And an amazing, I saw the Davidson that many people got from the interviews. Like, he was very gracious, talking about the night that Brandon had. Brandon's family, an amazing unit there. All of them are coming to talk to Figueiredo, so I'm translating for them.
Wow.
And that became a quadrilogy. So that was my first event. Yeah, my first press conference was right outside of the arena. It was a couple blocks away in downtown Phoenix from the hotel. And that's when I got to see one Nate Diaz just pulling out some stuff. It was, I mean, that was a vibe. That prepared me even more for everything that
is amazing.
Fights.
Which is there a favorite one? Like a favorite moment that you were involved in, a favorite interview of, because there's such emotion, right? It's like incredible to be a part of that. There's only like 3 people involved, right? It's you, it's Rogan, it's the guy, usually Rogan or Cormier or someone like that. Is there a favorite one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it wasn't even in the octagon. It was outside of it. McGregor Poirier. So that was the first of all, an amazing moment, as it is, right? To actually see that fight. First one in T-Mobile after the pandemic. And Charles is there with the belt. And now these people, I work with them, but this was a voice in my ear saying, hey, there's going to be a producer named Jimmy coming to you, and he's going to bring Megan O'Leary, and you guys are going to go live afterwards, and John Anik is going to kick to Megan, and he's going to interview Charles. And because obviously the winner of this fight is most likely going to face Charles. It's like, okay, so no problem. Now I work with Jimmy all the time. Big Giants fan, so it's easy to work with a Giants fan when you're an Eagles fan.
Great guy.
Both Giants fans, including Megan, also Giants fan. So I go in there, and as all that's happening, as you hear McGregor talk, as he's being taken out, this interview is actually on YouTube. Like, that's when I met Charles. That's when I met Charles. That was the first time. That's when first time I translated for Megan, which now, I mean, all the time, just it's amazing. She was so gracious, because she understood that I actually asked her to repeat a question live. Afterwards, she said, dude, I could barely hear myself. And she had the thing to hear. Charles is hearing whatever we're saying to him. So I have the responsibility of hearing her. And I'm hearing McGregor talking, people yelling. This moment, actually, if you look on YouTube, is actually what the broadcast version is, with the cameras shifting to McGregor being taken out. Poirier's making his way out of the octagon, and they're interviewing Charles. And that was the first time I met him. And let me tell you, there's an aura there, because I told people for months, I was like, I don't know what that man has, man, but it's just the way he looks at you, the smile on his face. And we come from very different backgrounds. So I'm as a public relations guy, that was my degree. To hear someone that comes from where he comes from be so, assertive when he talks, just be so clear when he talks, the message is out there. And it was like, oh my God, were you born media trained or something? It felt really amazing. And I told a lot of people that was like, I just wanted, it was a vibe. I mean, plus he had the jacket on, and he had the belt, and he had the shades on. It was like a Deion Sanders moment almost. It was like prime.
I love all the football references. You wouldn't expect that from someone who's born in Brazil. I would imagine it would be football, like football, those references. I know. Neymar, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, someone like that. But I like that. You're fully American. Yeah, you're fully.
Been jaded. I became an American citizen this year, actually.
Oh wow!
So Yeah.
Congratulations. That's and just curious, when you find out if you're going to an event, how soon or how close to the event do you find out?
I tend to use my corporate approach. So the person that's my contact internally. I've always been one to actually kind of send him whenever rumors or ever fights are being, because he's worried about what's actually on paper, like what's on paper and what's confirmed. He has to worry about so many other as a senior or producer, of events. So basically about 5 months out, I just basically look at what's going on, what's confirmed, and I send it out full of flags and like who the fighter is. They're the ones that I know of. I do my research to say, hey, this one might need it, might not need. And I always tell people, I write long messages. I say, like, when you get to it, that's a reference message right there. And then we have a code, which is plan on it. So
Okay.
I now go plan on it with a question mark, and he goes plan on it. So that's, I made a joke about like China, for example, like, I'm scheduled to go to China because they put 3 Brazilians against the 3 fights that at least for now are scheduled are 3 Brazilians against 3 Chinese fighters. And I just said, I sent all the 3 when they kind of got announced. I was like, man, if you wanted me to go to China, all I have to do is ask. He goes, yeah, so it has to, there's a visa process and stuff, but it's usually about 4 to 5 weeks before.
Okay.
But obviously, if it has to do with my job, I do have a full-time job again. So I always, if there's something related to it, I always let them know, like, listen, there's this event I need to go through. There's these meetings I have to go to. I have to give an answer. It's going to be in person. So what can we do about this?
So I think
about a month ago.
I think in the last 6 or 7 months, Charles has been on twice, prior to the Vancouver card and then afterwards, once this fight was announced. And both times we had Luciana translating. Both times, by the way, I've heard of something called Brazilian time. There's both times, by the way, he was like prompt, early. Here he is 22 minutes late. Do you think it's because you're translating and Luciana's not? I'm trying to understand what's going on here.
I mean, it's a tremendous downgrade, so I don't blame him.
But I think we have located him. We're just trying to get him. There was something wrong with his phone or something like that. So we're working. In case you were wondering if I was tricking you and that Charles wasn't coming on, even though this has been great. I'm actually happy because I told the guys I wanted to have time either before or after to learn more about you and your story. And so you could also do Spanish as well. Is that?
Yes. So, been working
Italian?
in Spanish for 25 years. Yeah, Italian is I always say that, Italian is Italy's second most spoken language because the first one is like a dialect where people speak at home. So Italian is more like, I would say, if I had to go to the Octagon to translate Italian, it would be a tough task, but I prepared myself so much. Like there are instances where I was ready to translate corner and the fighter ended up losing. And there was a particular fighter that he was going to I was going to do corner only because he speaks English. And I just listened to his coach. I mean, if Google ever looked into my search history, like, what is wrong with you? Are you obsessed with this man? The coach is a fascinating person, by the way. Great story, great history. And I was just basically trying to get a hold of his accent and just because I was going to have to listen to him in a corner, right? And Italians yelling are a different breed. So I was like, okay, so he's a co-man. And fighter ended up losing in the first round, so I never got to it. But yeah, Italian family. I have 3 passports. I'm an Italian citizen as well.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Have you done a Spanish one yet? Correct me for not.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
yeah.
have? Okay.
No, I do. I've been doing Contender. My third season of Contender. I do a lot of stuff for UFC Espanol. I've helped out with many things there, so I do all the media days. I actually work out of my regular job. Out of the Apex on Wednesday.
No
I take
way.
my laptop, so I get there early.
Wow.
Yeah, I get there early, come out late, and I'm just there. I'm like, hey, listen, the shift of some conference calls. People are very understanding of that, and I just go, and I've been helping them out a lot. Great people at UFC Espanol. Great people.
Oh my gosh, look at you. So in total, is it possible that you're spending more time on UFC stuff than your regular job? No, that's not possible, right?
No, it's just that it shows so much because it's there. But if you think about it, I never stop. I never stop. Like right now I'm in Dubai. because we were in Abu Dhabi. So I just extended the trip a little bit and kind of stayed here. So tomorrow, for example, I'm going to our offices in Dubai. We have offices in Dubai. Going to meet with some people that I've never met in person. One that I know that is setting up the meetings, and then I'll work some more here. And then there's one of our directors actually coming in for a 10-hour layover in Dubai. So we're going to go out to dinner or something. I never stop.
Wow.
I never stop.
And
Yeah.
are you doing MSG?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So you get to do all
How
the big
crazy
cards.
is that, huh?
Freaking Madison Square
Yes.
Garden. You get to be in the freaking
I
Mecca.
know. I was, you don't understand. As someone who was a Jordan fan, I mean, okay, I pissed some people off because I was walking up to people in the garden, and first of all, the people in the garden are iconic, right?
Yes.
The first thing that I heard from a garden employee, the jacket, it's just all the people that I saw on TV for years. He goes, "How you doing?" Like he actually said, "How you doing?" I was like, "Oh, wow, all right." And I just kind of like told some of our young people and like production and audio, I was like, "Hey, just take it in right in front, like next to MSG employees." Like, this is the place where Michael Jordan scored 55 a couple times in his career. Just best. This is, let's take it in, man. And they're like, "Shut up!" Like I heard, they're Knicks fans.
Yeah,
so
double nickel. Someone is calling. I'm just gonna answer this right now with you on the air here, Fabiano. Someone is calling me who I think it's Charles calling me right now on my phone. Let's see.
Put on speaker.
Hello. Hey, Charles. Hey, what's up? We're gonna call you now to do the interview. I have Fabiano here, and we're trying to call you. Can I call you on this number right now? Yes? We're gonna call you right now. Don't go anywhere. How do you say?
Vamos ligar para você daí, Charles. A gente vai ligar para você. A gente vai ligar para você. A gente vai ligar para você daí. Vamos ligar nesse telefone. I can't hear him.
Oh, damn. I don't know how to do. Okay, you're telling him not to go anywhere?
Fica aí, vamos ligar. Fica aí, a gente vai ligar nesse telefone que você tá? Fica aí que a gente vai ligar nesse telefone.
Okay, he hung up. Guys, you got to call that number. They're telling me no one ever called. I don't know what's going on here. That was great work on your part, by the way. Guys, you got that number?
We have the number.
I mean, we're wasting Fabiano's time. I'm sorry about this, Fabiano. We're usually a pretty professional.
No problem, man. It's my day off for work. I'm on PTO today.
We're usually a pretty professional operation.
Yes, you are. Yes.
I'm gonna blame Brazilian time. What do you think of that? Is that fair?
Yes.
Probably not.
I always do. I always tell people I'm not late. I'm just there when I get there.
Yes. Guys, do you got that number? Sorry about this.
Yes, they're calling right now.
Okay, all right. Making me sweat here. But, we got to learn all about Fabiano, about his fandom of the Eagles. This is tremendous stuff. And I love, what about people online are so mean. They're so nice to you. No one gets mad at you. Do you get people who are like, you didn't say that correctly? I'm sure you get some.
Yeah.
Oh, you do get those?
Yeah. I've looked for those, and actually, just and a word of advice. Where am I to say this? I deal with people that put their lives, in out there in the octagon and in their well-being. People like you, that are just actually making shows happen. Your producers that they're calling people. I mean, I just step in when I'm needed. Nothing can compare to our commentators and our reporters, but I had that hate in my first fights, and I made the mistake of doing some searches that would lead to that opinion. I have had people that use celebratory posts that I did after a long time on LinkedIn. People that were connected to me on LinkedIn, that they used the comment on LinkedIn. They were connected, first level connections with me, that said, "Hey, man, love to be a part of this. I feel that a lot of stuff is lost in translation in Spanish. Call me up for Spanish translations." I was like, man, my Spanish speaking friends like, I want to beat up that dude. I don't know why people trying to entitled in a keyboard.
People are trying to ruin. They're jealous for your success.
It was just people just the stuff that they say. So I mean, look at what they say to women when they're on air. Like the first thing that they talk about is what they're wearing, how they're looking. It's like it's never it's keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
People people are never happy, but I'm so fortunate because people have been very, very positive. I'm taking the positivity in. People are so nice to me when they see me, when people recognize me, which is still mind blowing. But it's funny. It's funny. Like to go through the weirdest situations, man. Go through like TSA, and I
people
just went
recognize
by. Like I went through TSA. Like I got global entry, TSA free and stuff like that. I go in very calm time at Harry Reid. I'm leaving. And one of the guy, after I go through, pick up my bag and stuff, the guy goes, "Hey man, champion has a name."
Wow, that is amazing.
It's hilarious. Yeah, it's funny. It's pretty funny.
That was a great one. But now I
Yeah.
feel like Charles almost doesn't need a translator because he's starting to learn.
I know. I'm telling you, this is like a global plot to take me out. They want to make me redundant.
There is something to
That's
that
it.
though. Like all he has to say is the champ has a name or whatever he said in Vancouver, and people just fall in love with the fighter even more. Like just if look when Khabib started to speak a little bit of English, people felt, you know what I mean? There is some. I'm not trying to take you out of a job, but there's something to that.
But by the way, that was a surprise. Let people know that was a surprise. I did not know that was happening. His team is great. They really went through it. Charles is someone that, as we all know, is someone that's not afraid to go after the unknown, to come back from things, to learn new things, to become a different person. Why not this? And he just, I mean, those sentences, it wasn't like he just said a couple of things. There was like 6 sentences there.
Yes.
And we were just so surprised, kind of looking at each other. But especially with like, it was kind of like a compound thing. A couple weeks before like Natalia Silva and then Karine Killer. It was like, what the heck? Like, girls, what's up? Like,
You know what I would do if I was Brazilian fighter who spoke Portuguese only? I would ask you to teach me just so I can say something. Does any fighter think of that to learn? Do they ask you for help?
I've always made myself available for something like that. Obviously, we all have busy lives. They have busy lives, but some of them have been really
sorry to interrupt,
cool.
but can we say hi to Charles real quick? I want to see if he's able to understand you.
Oh, okay. Charles, are you there?
Charles, você tá aí?
Hi, Ariel. Hi, meu brother Fabiano. Tudo bom?
Tô escutando direitinho.
Fala, Fabiano. Tranquilo? Como você tá?
Tudo em ordem, meu caro. Hi, Fabiano. How you doing, man? Everything all right?
Okay, great. Charles, obrigado, parabéns. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. And thank you, Fabiano.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, first, Charles, can you tell us about the cut? When did it happen? How did it happen?
Charles, primeiro de tudo, fala pra gente do corte. Quando que aconteceu e como que aconteceu?
Então, na realidade, cara, de verdade, acho que todo mundo sabe da minha fé em Deus e tenho certeza que Deus sabe todas as coisas, né? Aconteceu pela manhã, no dia da minha viagem, meu último treino, né? Um movimento bobo, na hora que eu fui defender uma queda e acabei meio que escorregando e chocando cabeça com cabeça, na hora que eu tive um corte grande e muito fundo, né? Então, acabou que eu acabei saindo do UFC, na hora que ia fazer a luta principal contra o Luiz Makhachev.
Well, everybody knows my faith in God, and everybody knows I know that God, has a plan, and I guess people know the story now. So it happened in the morning of the day of my trip. Silly move, basically a takedown defense. I was just training and ended up having headbutting there, and then ended up getting up of UFC 294 in the fight against Islam Makhachev.
When he felt that he was cut, when he realized that he was bleeding and everything, what did he feel? Like, what did that do? What did that do internally to him?
Quando você sentiu a pancada, quando você sentiu a cabeçada, quando você sentiu que estava machucado, que estava sangrando, que estava aberto, o que passou na tua cabeça? O que você sentiu, cara?
Na realidade, tipo, a gente somos atletas, a gente somos lutadores, então tudo pra gente vai dar tempo, sabe? Tipo, não foi tão fundo, vai dar tempo, sabe? Tipo, mas fica o receio também de não lutar, então ficava passando milhares de coisas, pô, justo agora, mas vai dar tempo. Caiu a ficha, na realidade, quando o médico falou, né, que era um corte muito grande e muito fundo, sabe? Pra poder lutar, porque ele falou, a primeira das coisas que ele falou, na hora que bater vai abrir, então a ficha caiu na hora mesmo, na hora que o médico falou, mas no momento da pancada, a gente é lutador, vai dar tempo, vai dar certo, calma, respira, calma, sabe?
We're fighters. I mean, we're kind of jaded. We always think that when it happens, it's not that serious. We're going to bounce back. I mean, this is nothing. It's going to be okay. And then I think that and this is a Portuguese term in Brazil, we like to say when the coin finally clicked, like because of payphones, remember?
Yes,
when we say
yes.
the coin, so when a coin hit, that's what we say. So it really dawned on me, and that coin really hit, it's when actually the doctor said, this is not only a large cut, but it's also a deep cut. And it's not going to you're not going to have enough time. And basically, it really, it dawned on me when he said, any hit there would just basically split that thing open. And that's when I found out that, it was serious. But as fighters, we always think we're ready for the next challenge. Everything's going to be okay.
When Dana White first spoke about the news, he said he wished that Charles or his team told him before they went to go get it, fixed, because maybe there was something they could have done. Could I ask, why did he do it the way he did? And Dana also said he understands why he would be afraid to do that. He doesn't want to alert the UFC or worry them, but why did they go about it the way in which they did?
Charles, na hora do anúncio, quando o Dana finalmente revelou aquilo, se não me engano foi na terça-feira do Contender, lá quando ele falou à noite para as pessoas e revelou que você estava fora da luta, ele falou que talvez quisesse, e ficou implícito que ele deixou claro que ele queria que as coisas tivessem sido feitas diferentes. Ele talvez deixou no ar que vocês foram um outro médico antes de ir, talvez um cirurgião plástico, que talvez as coisas tivessem sido diferentes. E também ele falou que entendeu o porquê que você talvez não fosse direto ao UFC ou alguma coisa mais certificada pelo UFC para talvez passar por isso. Você poderia esclarecer para a gente como é que foi essa situação do Dana ter falado isso? Queria que você tivesse ido para um cirurgião plástico e no final das contas não foi? Como é que foi isso?
Cara, na realidade, vê só. Você tá 12 dias numa luta. Você tem um corte que ele é grande e que ele é fundo. Vê só, agora eu quero que isso aí todo mundo tem que responder rápido. Você tem um corte grande e fundo. Você vai parar, calma aí, deixa eu ligar pro UFC para ver qual médico eles vão mandar. Você vai pro médico que você tem. O médico que a gente tem foi da Previdente. Então, tipo assim, é uma equipe gigantesca, de um time gigantesco que trabalha com a gente. Então, a gente correu urgentemente para aquilo. Para a gente poder ter um respaldo maior, para a gente ter uma aceleração, algo que, tipo assim, a gente acelerou e fez acontecer, sabe? Ninguém ia parar, calma aí, espera aí, continua sangrando aí que eu vou te ligar, vou ligar pro UFC para conversar com fulano de tal. Não, isso não vai acontecer. Nenhum atleta, nenhuma pessoa vai fazer isso, vai correr rapidamente pro médico. Então, tipo assim, eu tive um atendimento perfeito, de todas as coisas perfeitas, também ponto por dentro, ponto por fora. Não tinha o que fazer. Poderia, um cirurgião plástico podia ser o melhor do mundo, não ia fazer eu lutar. Não tinha como lutar. Para você ter ideia, vai fazer 3 semanas e o corte não fechou, a parte de fora ainda tá aberta. Então, não tinha como lutar, não tinha o que fazer.
I want people to actually answer this quick. So, I mean, think about this. Think if it happens to you, right? I mean, think about this. You're fighting, you're training out there, and all of a sudden you get a gash right there, and it's a huge cut. What do you do? I mean, you're going to go out there and call. 12 days before the fight, you're going to call the UFC, and you're going to say, hey, what do you recommend me to do? I mean, you're gashed right there. So we have a doctor. We have a great medical team that has worked well with everybody. The first thing we do is this is bleeding. This is huge. Let's go to the doctor. Listen. It was a great job. Doctor did internal stitches, external stitches. Everything was great, and I don't think a plastic surgeon would have actually gotten me ready for that fight. Just for you to understand, right now, has it been 3 weeks since that happened? And the externals are still. I mean, it's still open. It's that cut has not been closed. So there's nothing much that would have said you want to go for the quickest solution possible, and we have a great team of doctors, and they did exactly what needed to be done, and we just went for it because we wanted to be taken care of immediately.
It's one thing for fighters to criticize, but for fans to do that, but I saw some fighters, guys like Bilal Muhammad, who said Charles never wanted to fight, who put out this story that he looked for a way out. Did he see any of this, and how did it make him feel? It's, again, one thing for fans to say this, but to see fellow fighters question his heart and question how much he wanted to fight.
Charles, uma coisa é ter fãs, ter torcedores de outros lutadores, ter gente que tá fora do UFC falar uma coisa. Mas lutadores chegaram a comentar, e nesse caso aqui, a gente menciona o Bilal Muhammad, que mencionou que talvez você nem quisesse lutar em primeiro lugar. Você acha que isso... Como é que, primeiro, você sentiu isso? Você sentiu isso de alguns lutadores? E como é que você se sente que lutadores chegaram a falar algo assim?
Fabiano, vê só, de verdade. Eu não cheguei agora no UFC, eu vou fazer 13 anos lá no UFC, né? Sendo bem sério, esses caras querem surfar a minha onda, entendeu? Esses caras querem se aparecer, querem falar merda. Quem vai tomar um corte desse tamanho, dessa profundidade para não querer lutar? Não existe isso. Outra vez só, tava no final do camping, no último dia para poder viajar. Como que eu vou pegar e inventar um bagulho desse? Na realidade, esses caras falam besteira demais. Sendo bem sincero, de verdade, eu não tô nem aí para que esses caras falam. Eu tenho que estar ligando para aquilo que vem acontecendo, para aquilo que a minha equipe acha. Olha, no momento que eu falei pro UFC de tudo que aconteceu, eu tive um respaldo gigantesco do UFC. O UFC sabe quem é o Charles, o UFC sabe que eu nunca corri de luta, o UFC sabe que eu quero se tornar campeão de novo, que eu tô treinando e me dedicando para isso. Então, tipo, de verdade, pessoal, o que esses caras falam e deixam de falar, na realidade, puta, nem eu tenho que levar em consideração. Esses caras querem surfar minha onda, esses caras querem ser quem eu sou, só que não tem coragem de fazer tudo que eu fiz.
Man, I've been at this for 13 years. I didn't come in yesterday to the UFC. I've been at this for 13 years. And I'm going to tell you really the real talk here. They want to surf my wave. That's what's happening. I mean, what do you, I mean, they just want to show off. They just want to show up and just make themselves known and seen and heard. Think about this. Who would actually make up or cause a situation in which you have such a big and deep cut in the day of the of actually traveling? These dudes, listen, they do is talk shit. That's what they do all the time. And I don't, at the end of the day, I don't pay attention to them. Like for the UFC, when I told the UFC what happened and I actually explained to them what this situation, I've been the support that I've gotten from the UFC. They understand who I am. They understand who Charles Oliveira is. They understand that I'm already thinking about the training that I need to do, everything that I need to do to get back, and everything I need to do to become a champion again. They understand this. So in reality, I mean, I really don't give a damn about what people say. I mean, they're going to talk their talk. They want to surf my wave. They want to be who I am. They want to be where I am. And I mean, they're not me.
Okay. Did he watch the fight? And, you know, I asked that if only because maybe he'd have been so upset that he didn't want to watch it, hurt him too much to not participate. A, and B, regardless of if he watched or not, he obviously knows the result. Was he surprised by the way in which the fight went down?
Tá. Umas perguntas, Charles. A primeira de todas é, você assistiu a luta? Porque, obviamente, com a situação, você teria total direito de repente, não tô chateado, não quero assistir a luta. E se assistiu, você ficou surpreso com o resultado e com o que acabou acontecendo, com a vitória dele, da maneira como foi?
Não, assisti sim, e falo mais uma vez, isso aí mostra o quanto o Isla vem evoluindo na parte em pé. O Isla fez a leitura de luta perfeita, começou chutando por baixo e terminou com o chute na cabeça. Tá de parabéns, né? E o Volkas tá de parabéns por também ter aceitado a luta. Então, como eu tinha falado, são dois grandes lutadores, são dois caras da história, merece todo o respeito do mundo, sabe? Eu assisti a luta, ele merece todo o respeito do mundo, como eu falei.
Yeah, man, and I've said this before. This only goes to show the things that I've said before, that Islam, the evolution of Islam's game standing up. I mean, he did the right. What a read that he had of that fight to start kicking low and just ended up kicking high. So I mean, kudos to him. All props to him, and also all the props as well to Volkanovski for actually taking that fight on a short notice. I mean, all respect to both of them. They're great fighters, and I obviously Islam is a great champion, and all respect to both fighters. It shows his evolution as an MMA fighter.
Has Charles been told that he is next for Islam?
You cut off a little bit there, but I'm thinking that you asked, has Charles been told if he's next against Islam?
Exactly.
Perfect. Charles, você já foi confirmado, foi dito para você que você é o próximo na linha para enfrentar o Islam?
Não, ninguém falou nada. Simplesmente o UFC só falou para mim, tá bom, vamos recuperar. E é o que eu tô fazendo, eu tô recuperando. Né? Eu tô recuperando, eu quero me recuperar. Eu acho que, tipo assim, eu não preciso provar mais nada para ninguém. Eu acho que eu já mostrei quem eu sou, já mostrei tudo aquilo que eu venho fazendo lá dentro. Eu não luto por dinheiro, eu luto para fazer história, eu luto para deixar o meu legado, para mostrar para as pessoas quem eu sou. Então eu vou lutar na hora que eu estiver pronto. Quando eu estiver pronto, quando eu estiver 100% igual eu tava, aí eu vou lutar.
No one has said anything. Specifically, they know who I am. They know what I'm all about. They know that I'm going to train to become a champion. That I'm training and I'm getting ready for it. They know what I'm all about. That I don't fight for money, man. I fight for to make history, and I fight for my legacy. So I'm going to continue to train, continue to get prepared, and try to get up to 100%, just like I was right before this fight. So, and that when I'm at 100%, I'll be ready to fight.
I apologize if this is a silly question, but just for the record, does he want Islam next?
Já me desculpo de antecipação por ser uma pergunta boba, mas é importante perguntar para você. É o Islam que você quer o próximo? Essa é a próxima luta? Você quer lutar contra o Islam?
Eu quero o cinturão. Não importa com quem ele esteja. É isso que eu quero o cinturão.
I want the belt. Whoever has got that belt, it doesn't matter who has it, I want that belt.
In the post-fight press conference, Dana White seemed to lean towards Charles next, but didn't say definitively. Islam, though, said he didn't think that the rematch against Charles was a good idea. What was his reaction to both, and in particular Islam, and what he said?
Na coletiva de imprensa, na arena depois, o Dana deixou pouco claro e meio que já partiu pouco, pendeu para o lado de ser você. Ele falou que você é o próximo, que faz todo sentido, que é isso que se espera. Ao mesmo tempo, o Islam, quando foi entrevistado, falou que não achava que você seria o próximo, que você deveria lutar contra ele. Como é que você vê o que o Dana falou e o que o Islam falou?
Quem manda é o UFC. Quem o UFC mandar lutar, vai lutar. Todo mundo sabe, eu sou o próximo da fila. Eu sou o número 1 do ranking, eu tô vindo de uma grande vitória, eu estava pronto para essa luta, infelizmente aconteceu o que aconteceu, eu sou o próximo da fila.
Whoever the UFC says you're gonna fight, well, they're gonna fight. Everybody knows I'm next. First in the rankings, coming off of a great win and ready to fight like I was before. I was ready for that fight until it happened, and I'm next in line.
Okay, what does he think is going to happen in his heart? What does he think happens?
Tem o teu desejo e tem aquilo que você acha que vai acontecer hoje, no teu coração. O que você acha que vai acontecer? Qual que você acha que é o desdobramento dessa situação?
Eu sou o próximo. Hã? Eu sou o próximo da fila.
I'm next in line.
Okay.
I'm the next one. I'm next in line.
And what are the doctors telling him? When would the cut heal fully to where there are no restrictions?
E o que os médicos estão falando para você? Quando é que esse corte vai ficar completamente recuperado e curado a ponto que você não vai ter nenhuma restrição para voltar?
Eu creio que mais ou menos daqui 20 dias eu devo voltar a treinar. Eu creio que é mais ou menos isso aí. Daqui 20 dias eu devo voltar a treinar 100%.
I think about 20 days should be clear to. 20 days I should be clear to train 100%.
Okay. Two last questions for him, if you want to tell him that. Number one, in a perfect world for him, when would he like the fight to happen?
Duas perguntas para você agora finais, só para você saber. Então, a primeira, no mundo perfeito, o que você gostaria de... Quando que você gostaria de lutar? Quando que você acha que a sua próxima luta será?
Eu acho que vai ser janeiro, fevereiro. É a próxima luta. O Islam deve lutar isso, janeiro, fevereiro. Então, acho que é isso que vai acontecer, janeiro, fevereiro.
I think January, February. I think it should be the next fight. Islam should be ready to be January and February. Should be January and February.
Okay, and what is his message to Justin Gaethje, who is also trying to campaign for the title fight?
E qual que é a tua mensagem para o Justin Gaethje, que está fazendo uma campanha, basicamente, para tentar entrar, se inserir no contexto e se colocar nessa luta?
Fabiano, de verdade, todos vocês sabem, eu sou o cara que não fico mandando recado. Eu só faço acontecer. Essa é real. Todo mundo quer vender a luta, todo mundo quer vender para poder fazer dinheiro. Tudo pode acontecer. O Islam quer lutar de 7-7, então se o Islam lutar de 7-7, pode ser que aconteça, o UFC coloque o cinturão interino, e aí pode ser que o Dusty Gaethje entre na entrada. Tudo pode acontecer. Eu não tenho que mandar nada de recado pro Dusty Gaethje, não. Ele é um grande lutador, ele é um cara que merece todo o respeito do mundo. Fez uma grande história. Eu não tenho que mandar recado para ninguém. Eu respeito esse cara.
Man, you know that I'm not the type of guy that be sending messages out there. I just do my thing. I make it happen. So, listen, everybody's campaigning. Everybody's just trying to put themselves into that context there, insert themselves and to sell a fight. Listen, even Islam says that he might want to move up in weight. So why not? Maybe the UFC will put a somebody to fight for the interim belt, and maybe Gage could be coming up to that situation. So Gage has had a great history, great fighter, great guy. Made a lot of history in this, with this organization, but I'm not one to be sending messages out there. I don't need to.
Fair enough. He is Charles de Bronx. The name has a champion, as he once said, or excuse me, the champion has a name. I screwed that up. Good on me for that. Can you say to him, Feliz cumpleaños, I think it is. Happy birthday. Last week was his
Aniversário.
Aniversário.
Aniversário. Charles, você é o Charles do Bronx, campeão tem o nome, a gente sabe disso. Só gostaria de te desejar feliz aniversário.
Pô, obrigado de coração, é sempre um prazer sempre estar falando com vocês aí. Deus abençoe todos vocês.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and God bless you for all of you.
Thank you. Obrigado. Thank you so much, Charles. Talk to you later.
Thank you, meu
Obrigado,
brother.
Charles. A gente fala.
Okay.
Valeu, Fabiano. Com Deus.
Get well soon. Oh, Fabiano. What a legend you are, my friend. This was one of the most stressful hours of my life doing this show. I mean, you have no idea what was going on. You were cool as a cucumber. I'm screwing up quotes. I'm sweating. I'm sweating like a whore in church, like they say. You know what I mean? I'm sweating like crazy, but you're a freaking legend. You carried me, Fabiano. You carried me throughout that whole hour. I just want you to know.
Oh, stop.
You carried me.
Stop.
Thank God for you.
Stop.
I don't know if
Lot of
Luciana
praise.
could have carried me like that. I mean, thank God it was you in there. Don't tell her I said that, okay? Please.
I mean, Luciana's just on a roll right now. When she found out that I was doing this, she's like, because Chevy should give you content. So this is the level of humor that you're dealing with. I just wanted to just kind of like, so she said, that the Flintstones didn't like Dubai because I'm here. And she goes, yeah, but the people of Abu Dhabi do.
Wow. That's a good one.
Dubai doesn't like the Flintstones.
Yes.
The Dubai doesn't like
Abu Dhabi do.
But the people of Abu Dhabi do. So that's the level. This is the maturity that you're dealing with here. So I just wanted to let you know that someone may look like dad, and others got the dad joke. So it's going to be great.
I love it.
I wish you the best.
I love it. And thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You're so good. It's so fascinating. It's such a pleasure to watch you work, to see how you listen and how you It's really a pleasure. I'm glad this worked out. Honestly, it couldn't have worked out better. We got to chat. We got to learn more about you. And then we got Charles join us. It was fantastic. So thank you. I know it's getting late over there in Dubai. So be well, my friend. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. And we'd love to have you back on anytime. You're always welcome here.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure. Again, for a long-time listener, first-time translator.
Thank you. All the best to you, Fabiano.
Take care.
What a legend. Fabiano Buskei. I mean, he saved my ass on that one. I'm sweating so much right now. I need a nap, guys.
Need some more water?
Yeah. I screwed up the line. I even screwed the name has a champion.
Has a champion. Yeah, that was
earlier before the show.
Yes.
Connor said the star has a sport, and I tried to correct him, and he was like, "Well, the star has a sport." I'm like, Connor, listen to what you're saying. So it's just in the air.
What was that in reference to?
Oh, I don't think we can share that.
Oh, okay. I mean, we got it done. We did.
Dude, we're over here dialing out to that number, and we're getting menus in Portuguese, trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, it was stressful times back here. That was.
Can you see this? Like,
you squeeze them together? Yeah.
No, can you see how much I'm sweating?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was frantic. We're trying to download WhatsApp onto the computer. It was.
How did we do that, by the way? Was it WhatsApp?
WhatsApp downloaded onto the PC, put out over the board, and just to like really break the fourth wall. I mean, shout out to Frankie. We couldn't tell if Charles could hear us or not.
That's why you had to jump in?
Yeah, and he just put him on the air. Yeah. And luckily it worked out.
That's why I was wondering why Frank just like barged right in there.
Yeah, because we had him, but we just didn't know because obviously, the language barrier makes things 10x more difficult.
Yeah.
But we got it.
I need a cigarette or something. I never put a cigarette to my lips. I need a freaking... Does someone have an edible for me or something? I need to go to a different place.
Post show we will.
Post show edible party? Wow, I didn't know.
I'm down.
Oh my gosh. The problem is, like Fabiano's so nice that I was just like, I don't want to waste his time. I'm sure he was happy to talk and everything, and I'm trying to listen and text with his with his PR. Let me just thank her here. Oh God.
Take your time.
Oh man, can we go to a commercial break? Do we have something?
I mean, I could.
We have all the Charles Oliveira B-roll you could ever dream of. If you want to just go to that, just a nice little slideshow.
Anyone have an e-cig for me? I mean, golly.
Wow. I think there's some Prime in the back.
The perfect way to rebound from something like that is Tommy Aspinall, who will be joining us in 5 minutes' time. The aforementioned. Yeah, let me just listen to that for a moment. Can we listen? Can we go full on that?
Can we go full on that?
I don't know. Full sound up.
Track.
Oh my gosh, that was stressful. We haven't had one of those in a while, huh?
I don't know what you guys are all tripping about. We were fine.
Yo, you did a great job. So you downloaded WhatsApp onto the computer there? Yo, what was the problem?
That's when we found out that it was a WhatsApp number that we were calling.
You sent the second screenshot. Your phone was like, it's a WhatsApp number. I'm like, that's why.
It was.
Your first screenshot made it look like it was one of your Apple contacts.
Well, I don't know what it is. It's just
we were dialing it on the phone, and we were getting an error message in Portuguese that was probably like, "Yo, this is a WhatsApp number, you dumbass." But obviously, we can't. I
didn't know that there were some numbers that were strictly exclusively WhatsApp.
I believe this one was.
Wow.
Because then it worked once we got WhatsApp cooking.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? Silver lining. Good to know that we can make calls via WhatsApp.
That's what we said back here. We all had a big high five.
And we could do video.
Kumbaya. We were like a nice learn. You either lose or you learn.
Yes.
Nope. You either win or you
win
learn.
or learn. Yeah.
We learned here.
That was almost as bad as champion.
I think that was actually worse.
The name as a champion. Wait a second. You could do WhatsApp video too? Yeah. I know you could do that on your phone, but like,
we just need a little bit more notice to get that
we actually got to figure out the WhatsApp video because we tried it and it failed miserably. So
you're telling me we could have done
no.
Okay, no.
No. We tried to do the video
and
it failed miserably, so we just had to go video.
10 more minutes, we could have figured it out.
10 more minutes. You're telling me we could have had Charles
the show,
on.
we could have figured that out.
No, it's okay. I feel pretty good about how this all turned out. By the way, those asking about Mike Breeden, we haven't forgotten about him. He'll join us on an episode next week. Just kidding. He'll be on at 3:30. We appreciate him.
I would have left.
You would have. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He was the guy that you were most looking forward to. He will join us at 3:30 because, he was supposed to be on at 2:30, and then Charles joined us at 2:30. So technically, by the way, when you do the title for this, Frank, you got to put Fabiano's name in there. That was
for sure.
That was a full 30-minute interview right there.
It was going to be Fabiano et al.
Yeah, Fabiano and friends. Appreciate it very much. Wow. Oh wait, I got something here. Wow. Okay, there's a lot going on. What?
No more curveballs, please. There's just a lot going on. There's a lot going on. My wife is... what is going on here? Let's go real quickly to this commercial break. Do you need one?
No. Okay, in a second, we're going to be joined by Tom Aspinall. First, a quick word from our good friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. How about that? What about the NBA coming back yesterday, guys? You guys see that? Big win for Shaheen's Phoenix Suns. Also, what about Arizona? I mean, just killing it. Commiserations to the Philly fans out there. But that was huge. Did you guys see that? Did you see the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, it's insane. Plus 6,600 before the season started.
Was it really that?
Yeah, dude. I mean, they were like, I think they lost like 98 games last year. They were terrible.
I read a thing that Rangers, I think it's Rangers, Diamondbacks, it's like the 6th time in World Series history that 2 years after having 100 losses, they're in the World Series.
Insane.
Crazy.
Insane.
Suns with a big win. Phoenix is on fire. They're known as the Arizona Diamondbacks. I feel like they should be known as the Phoenix Diamondbacks. Like, Arizona's a pretty big state, no? Anyway, NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is celebrating with an unbeatable offer. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for throwing down $5 on the NBA. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. You'll start the season with an instant dub. Knicks Celtics tonight. Knicks Dogs at home. the disrespect. And with DraftKings parlays, everyone's got a shot at even bigger basketball wins. String together multiple bets from the same game or build your parlay across multiple games for a shot at making your payday even sweeter. Basketball is more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code DMAR. New customers get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code DMAR. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY. That's 467-369. I'm going to turn this into a wrap now, okay, Frank? In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resorts in Kansas. Licensee partner, Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 and older. 21 and older. Age varies with jurisdiction.
I think this is actually slower.
Jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bet. Expire 168 hours after issuance.
This feels like a music video to not do drugs for middle school.
Sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
It's boots and pants and boots.
I didn't realize Tom was ready. I was trying to buy time. All right, there we go. We woke up this morning, or at least I did, to the news that our very own, yes, our very own, Tommy Aspinall is actually going to be fighting at MSG. Remember when I told you he should have been fighting at MSG against Sergey Pavlovich? Well, guess what? It's happening. Interim heavyweight title fight. Johnny Bones out. Stipe out. It's now the pride of England. Tommy Aspinall going up against the Russian bear himself, Sergey Pavlovich, for the interim heavyweight title. And Tom said, I will take the fight, but I got to go on Helwani to talk about it all. And so here he is. Always a man of his word. Hello, Tom. How are you?
I was doing good until I just heard you do that rapping. It wasted like 30 seconds of my life. I'm never going to get back. Please do that online again. Do it in your own time, please. That's ridiculous. Oh, my goodness.
Sorry. I was trying to buy time because I didn't see the message that you were ready. So I was trying to slow down. We just had a whole mess of a situation trying to find Charles Oliveira. So I'm happy that you are here and on time and ready to go. Okay, this is so fascinating. Okay, Tom, where are you? What time is it? How does this happen? How do you get the message? Can you relive the moment for us?
Oh, about the fight?
Yes.
Not right now. About the fight you're talking about. Okay. Right. So today is Wednesday evening. Yesterday morning, Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning. What time approximately?
Yeah. 6 a.m.
Okay. 6 a.m.
So let me just set the scene for you a little bit.
Please.
I'll set the scene a little bit.
I'll
take you to my personal life. That not many people go there. So I have 3 children, right? And when a child gets in bed with us, my children are young, so sometimes, they still come to the bed and stuff. I can't sleep, man. I'm a big guy. I get hot in there. So every time a child comes to the bed, I go to the spare room. That's my thing. Then when I go to the spare room, usually in the morning, when the kid's awake, my wife calls me. I wake up, I take the kids downstairs. She gets ready. We start the day. That's how it's always been for 7 years now. That's how it's been. So anyway, it's 6 a.m. I'm sleeping. My phone starts ringing, vibrating. I've always got it on vibrate. And automatically, I just wake up and think that my kid's up. That's what it is like every time I'm in the spare room. So I wake up, I walk to the landing. There's no kid there. It's pitch black. So I check in the kids' rooms. The kids are asleep. My wife's asleep. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Who's calling me at 6 a.m.? So I check the phone, and it's the UFC brass calling me at 6 a.m. And let me tell you, I don't know. I can't speak for the other fighters, but for me personally, I've never, ever had a direct phone call from the UFC brass before. So I'm thinking, what is going on? So I thought, oh, man, it's 6 a.m. I'm tired. I'm going training at 10. I'm going to get some sleep. I'm going to get some more sleep. So I thought, right, I'm just going to sleep. Obviously, I can't sleep. There's a million things going through my mind. So I think, right, I'm going to have to call him back. So I call back. They don't even say hello. He just answered the phone and he just said, I know it's early there. Are you healthy? And I'm like, yeah, I'm healthy. Why? What's going on? And they're like, will you be ready to fight in 2 weeks? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be ready to fight in 2 weeks. I said, why? What's happened? And they said, there's some crazy shit going on for this New York card. I'll let you know tomorrow. And that's it.
Wow.
I don't hear anything else. So obviously it's played on my mind all day. I go and train.
That's it?
Nothing
else.
Stuff.
Literally nothing else.
Well, I'm getting to it.
Okay. No, I mean in that phone call.
Thing.
Oh, it's a great story.
No, that's it.
Okay, yeah.
Literally 40, 50-second phone call. That was it.
Wow.
He's like, I won't keep you. I know it's early. You get some sleep. I'm like, fucking, how am I supposed to sleep now? You know what I mean? Anyway, full day goes by. Not heard anything. So I go to sleep. Anyway, 4 a.m. UK time. The phone rings again. It's the UFC brass again.
Wait, and now it's 4 a.m. Wednesday morning.
This morning. Wednesday morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This morning.
Yes.
4 a.m. I answer the phone. Obviously, I'm groggy as hell. I'm like, oh. And he's like, oh, shit, I woke you up again, didn't I? I was like, yep, it's 4 a.m. What's going on? And he's like, listen, Jones has injured his shoulder. He's going to be out for like a year. Stipe only wants to fight Jones. You and Pavlovich for the interim title. I'm like, I'm in. That's it. No contracts, talk. No, I'm not asking for more money. I'm not asking for more time. I'm in. This is my chance. So all roads lead to the 11th of November in New York City.
Wow. Okay, this is an incredible story and an incredible turn of events. Can I ask, why didn't you negotiate just a little something like, hey, I want this, but it is 2 weeks, not a full training camp. Why did you just say, I'm in?
Well, that's going to get negotiated. Don't worry about that.
Okay,
That's coming.
Okay.
They said at the end, don't worry, we're going to renegotiate the contract. I'm due a new contract anyway, but at this point, what's important to me is, mate, you got to remember Sergey Pavlovich, in my opinion, most dangerous man in the UFC. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm a 2 weeks notice. I'm on a 2 week training camp. This is the most dangerous guy in the worst situation that I can possibly be in. And I'm not interested, mate. I believe in myself. I think I can beat him. I've been matched up against him twice before. I'm hungry to get the heavyweight title, so I'm in.
What kind of shape are you in? Have you been training? Do you feel, or is this like literally 2 weeks you've been on holiday?
No, I've not been on holiday. I always stay in the gym, but obviously if I knew that I had a world title fight coming up, I would be in better shape than I am right now. Do you know what I mean? I'm making no excuses, mate. Do you know what I mean? I'm a professional fighter. I should be ready at any time, which I am. I'm not miles away, but I would have already put in like an 8 week training camp already if I knew that I was fighting, one of the best guys in the UFC.
How do you feel about your weight?
By the way,
yes,
is my Wi-Fi okay?
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Okay, good. You look a bit confused.
No, I'm just taking this all in. Well, I look confused.
Okay.
I'm just trying to it's a gigantic moment in your life. And in the sport.
Okay, good.
No, I'm just taking it all in. I'm sorry if I look confused. Gosh, I need to work on that. So what about your weight? How do you feel about it?
Oh, my weight? Well, I'm a heavyweight, so I'm not overweight. Do you know what I mean? I'm always around about the same weight anyway. So, yeah, the weight's fine. The weight's not an issue.
Okay. That is good to hear. Now, could I ask you this? I strongly feel like this should be for the title, the undisputed title. If Jon Jones is out for 8 months, if he's out for 9 months, 10 months, that means that his next fight will be well over a year after his first fight back in March of this year against Ciryl Gane. We have seen situations, i.e. Yuri Prochazka, who's fighting on the same card, it will be 11 months in between fights for him, and he was stripped of the belt, and that, next fight was for the vacant title. Why isn't this for the vacant title?
I do agree with you. I don't have any argument on that, Ariel, to be honest. I completely agree. It's going to be a while, mate, before he comes back, so
yeah,
maybe they might make the winner the vacant title the actual champion down the line or something, but mate, I'm treating this regardless of titles and everything. I honestly think that Sergey Pavlovich is the most dangerous man in the UFC. I truly believe that. So irrelevant of all that other stuff, like, I'm fighting the most dangerous guy in the UFC, and I'm taking it very, very serious.
I feel like we should campaign for this, though, because it does make it a little bit more prestigious, right? Undisputed title versus interim title. And then I heard them say, like, oh, and then we'll rebook Jones and Stipe. But isn't that confusing? The interim champion should be getting the crack at the undisputed champion. If they book Jones and Stipe, let's say next summer, that means the winner of this fight isn't fighting until next December or so? Or, like... It creates a whole big confusion, does it not?
I see what you mean, but I've not even considered that kind of stuff yet.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? My first thoughts are, mate, I need to get to the gym 3 times a day. I need to work out my travel. I need to do all this other stuff that I've not done and I'm nowhere near done in a really short period of time. So I'm just trying to figure that shit out first before I even think about that kind of other stuff.
Fair enough. Was he the backup fighter for this?
He was, so he's prepared.
Okay, how do you feel about that? He is presumably training and has been training for a few months. You are literally going into this on 2 weeks' notice. How do you feel about that?
I feel like I have some absolutely ginormous cojones.
Yes,
is that what I feel like?
You do.
To be honest with you, because mate, you know, just like I know. Maybe some of the people watching this don't know. There's a lot of people who give it the big time in the media and stuff. And they're dodging fights, mate, left and right. You know, look at Stipe. Stipe didn't want this fight. Stipe didn't want the fight. He's the greatest heavyweight of all time. Stipe didn't want the fight with Pavlovich. Pavlovich is the backup fighter. So, and there's plenty other people, mate, dodging Pavlovich as well. And, you know, I'm stepping up, mate. 2 weeks' notice. I'm doing stuff that no one else will dare to do. I'm daring to be great. And I was watching the David Goggins video. You've seen it when he's on the bench press and he's just screaming, "They don't know me, son. They don't know me, son." That's how I feel right now. Like, all the doubters are going to see. 2 weeks' notice, doesn't matter. Most dangerous man in the UFC. They don't know me. They don't know me. And we'll see. We'll see what goes on.
Are you surprised Stipe wasn't interested?
No, absolutely not. I think he's earned that right, to be honest. I think Pavlovich is an awful fight for Stipe. I think he's awful for him. So I understand. I understand why people are dodging Pavlovich. The guy's an absolute beast. He's an absolute machine. And I completely understand.
The wild thing about this is we just saw this with Volkanovski, right? Did what happened to him enter your mind at all? Did it give you any pause because we just saw it last weekend?
We saw it last weekend, but what about my guy, Ariel?
Which one?
Michael Bisping. Come on.
The legend, yes.
2.5 weeks notice.
That's right.
2.5 weeks notice to the day Mike Bisping went in there and took it from Luke Rockhold on 2.5 weeks notice. Exactly the same day as I got the fight. I mean, that's something to talk about, isn't it? 2 UK guys. Mike's my really, really close friend as well. He's my mentor. I look up to him so much for so many years now. And, you know, I'm privileged enough to call Mike a friend as well. He's not just a guy I look up to. And, you know, he did it on 2.5 weeks notice. Why can't I do it?
It's a great point. Have you heard from Michael since this came out?
Yes, I have. Yes, of course.
Can I ask what he may have said? Any words of wisdom, any tips, anything like that? Anything you could share?
He told me to believe in myself. And he told me that it's not about 2.5 weeks. It's about the last 10, 15 years of your life that you've been putting in. You know, the time scale is irrelevant. I've been putting the hard miles in this shit for years before anyone believed in me. You know, there was a time that me and my father used to train together, just us in my dad's garage. You know what I mean? For all them years, so many years I've been traveling. You know, I used to go to Liverpool, which is really far from my house, for years. I couldn't even afford to put petrol in the car and all kinds of stuff, mate. I've put in some serious hard yards and sacrifice into this sport. And this is not about 2.5 weeks, mate. This is about the last 15 years of my life. And I'm ready to show that, man.
What was your dad's reaction when you told him about this?
He's happy. He's happy about it. Yeah. I mean, me and Pavlovich have been matched up twice before, so he's not someone brand new. Do you know what I mean? We've been through two training camps for him already. So, and I think he's improved since then, as have I, obviously. And you know, a couple of years ago now, and yeah, everyone's happy, man. I've been doing really, really good stuff in the gym as well over the last couple of months. I feel like I've made some big improvements mentally and physically. So it's my time, man. It's my time, and I'm happy about it.
Could I ask, what was your reaction when you told your wife about this? I would assume you waited for her to wake up because you got the call at 4 a.m., or did you wake her up at 4 a.m. to tell her the news?
Well, let me tell you about this. She is actually on vacation right now.
Oh.
And I was supposed to be on vacation right now.
So you're alone?
We were leaving yesterday. I'm alone now, yeah. I don't have the wife and kids here, yeah. So we were supposed to leave yesterday, and they left, and I'm alone, yeah.
Wow. So you're missing out. So you weren't on holiday, but you were just about to go on holiday.
Just about to go.
Oh,
exactly, yeah.
Good trip. Are you bummed that you're missing it?
Yeah. My wife's so sick of it, honestly. Like every time we have a holiday book, she's like, something happens, something comes in the way, and I can't make it, or I make it for less time than I should have done, or whatever. And she's just sick of it. She's absolutely sick of it. But what can you do? This is the absolute chance of a lifetime. So I got to go for it.
At least you weren't actually on holiday, right? Like, at least you weren't like a day in drinking a pina colada and then they call you. At least you didn't have to get on that plane, right? And then fly back.
That's very true.
Yes. And just a couple more, and then I'll let you go. Can I ask you this, Tom? Why weren't you on this card to begin with? I made the case a few months ago. Put Sergey and Tom on this card, #1 contender fight, have them be aligned with the belt. Like, why did that not ever come to fruition, or was it close to coming to fruition?
Oh, I guess I can speak about it now, really.
Please.
I guess.
Oh,
okay. I was sworn to secrecy a little bit.
No.
So I think the original plan was kind of, obviously, them two guys are going to fight, and Sergey's going to be the backup. And then I think they were kind of under the impression that both guys are going to retire afterwards, and they were going to kind of see how that played out a little bit.
Oh.
And if that didn't happen, if they were both going to retire, then I was going to fight Pavlovich for the vacant title anyway, like early next year anyway. So I think they were just kind of going to see what happens after this card anyway. So yeah, it was just a big waiting game for me. But luckily, I stayed in the gym a little bit. You know, I'm a professional athlete. I take it very seriously, so I'm always in the gym anyway. But like I say, my intensity hasn't been there as if I was training for a fight. But I'm not too far away.
Okay. Were you planning on coming to New York?
Yes, I was coming.
In fact, we had talked about you coming in studio. Does this now mean you're not going to come in? I mean, that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, wow, does this mean that Tom's not coming in anymore, or what? I mean, still would be nice.
I don't know.
It would be nice.
Am I still invited?
Yeah, are you still invited? You're invited. I tried to track you down when I was in Manchester. I was asking everyone, "Where's Tom Aspinall's house?" And
you wasn't.
That was it's just crazy. I was looking everywhere for you.
You absolutely wasn't, and I was expecting an invite for something, but I was left hanging. I was left hanging, to be honest. I was free all that week. You know, I didn't have a fight at the time. I could have been chilling. I could have been drinking and all kinds. And no, you're too busy for me. Too busy for me. I understand.
No, never. Well, I'd love to have you in. This is very exciting. In fact, Tom, I want to let you know that about an hour or so ago, we spoke to your good friend, your old friend, the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, and he was well aware of the news. And in fact, he spoke a bit about the news, and I just want to share his thoughts with you and get your reaction to what Tyson Fury said. Here's Tyson Fury about 90 minutes ago talking about his good friend Tom Aspinall.
I've always said since Tom started in the UFC, I've always said he's capable of winning the heavyweight championship of the world, and this is his opportunity to go there, seize it with both hands, and immortality awaits.
Immortality awaits, Tom. From a man who knows a thing or two about that. He spoke a little longer about your situation as well. In fact, he brought it up. I was wondering if he knew, because I know he's busy over there. He brought it up. He was well aware of what you're going through and what you are embarking on, and just curious your reaction to that quick clip from Tyson.
Yeah, that's amazing. I have so much respect for Tyson and his whole family. Do you know what I mean? His whole family is just awesome. Like, everybody's so cool. And yeah, I remember a time when I used to be going sparring him in the boxing gym, and you know, I was really struggling for money at the time, and Tyson was obviously doing well for himself. And I remember saying, "Oh, I want to take this fight, but they don't." It was kind of a tough fight at the time, and they don't want to pay me. Like, they didn't want to pay me anything to be on the card. Like, they literally wanted me to fight for free on this show. And the guy who I was fighting was quite good. It's like, I want to fight, but I don't want to sacrifice everything for nothing and put a full training camp in. And I remember Tyson just being like, I'll pay you. Don't worry about it. Like, if you take the fight, I'll pay you for it.
Wow.
And it didn't. It never actually came to that. I think the fight got cancelled or something. But at the time, I was like a young 21, 22-year-old just trying to like get by in the sport. And that really meant a lot to me at the time. He probably doesn't even remember it, but I remember him saying, listen, if you want to fight, don't worry about money, I'll pay you.
Wow.
So I still appreciate that probably like 10 years later now.
That's incredible. I'm assuming you'll be watching on Saturday. How do you think he does?
Oh, of course I'll be watching. I mean, I can't see Tyson losing it. Absolutely no chance. We've seen him be hit with big shots before. We've seen him go down before. So, you know, he is a little bit battle worn at this point in his career. You know, he's getting a little bit older now and stuff, but the guy's skill level it's on a different universe to Francis Ngannou. Let's be honest. Let's be completely honest here. The chances of Francis Ngannou winning a very, 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 very slim puncher's chance. Even though, in a way, you know, Tyson's my guy. He's been my guy for a long time. I kind of want to see Ngannou do well in the fight. You know what I mean? Just because of his story, and I like him, and obviously I'm not saying I want Tyson to lose, but just to put up a decent performance just for himself. Like, listen, and this is what I've been through, and this is where I am now, and show it. It'd be a lot of motivation for a lot of people. I'm sure if he did all right in the fight, because a lot of people think it's going to be a one-sided affair, which I think as well. Do you know what I mean? But I'm a big fan of Francis Ngannou as well. I don't know him personally, but I followed his story as has everybody else in the MMA community, and I really like what he's all about. But if you're asking me a prediction, I think Tyson's going to absolutely school him.
What about November 11th? Aspinall, Pavlovich. How do you, in your mind now, how do you foresee it playing out?
I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think it's going to be a tough fight for both of us. I think you got to remember, me and Pavlovich, I've got the shortest fight time average in the UFC, and he has the second shortest fight time average in the UFC. It's wild.
Wow.
We're both very explosive finishers, both of us. I think I have more finishes from more positions. He obviously has a lot of power in his hands, but it's going to be a finish. It's going to be a finish, and I think I'm a lot smarter. I think my fight IQ is a lot better than a lot of the guys he's already fought, and I'm not going to stand in front of him and have a trade-off, because it's basically suicide if you do that with him. He's an absolute ginormous puncher, and I'm going to use my brain to win the fight, and I'm going to outsmart him.
Nervous?
Of course, mate. I'm not insane. Of course I'm nervous. Of course I am. Like, I'm taking the hardest fight in the worst possible situation that I could have. But I think it's just I feel like this is my story, and this is the way it's going to go down. And all the roads have led to here right now, and I can't let it slip away. I feel like, yeah, they don't know me. They don't know me like I know myself, and I believe in myself. And sooner or later, whether it be this fight or whatever, everyone's going to start believing in me too.
Well, I'm delighted for you, my friend. What news? Incredible. Remember I said just a few months ago, this is for me, most anticipated fight that the UFC can make. A non-title fight. There was no fight that I wanted to see more, and I thought that they should have made it for this card. And so to see it come together like this, there is a part of me that wishes you had a full training camp, but this adds to the legacy, to the story, and considering where you were last July and how you know, heartbreaking that was, and now here we are, like 15 months later, and you're on the cusp of pulling off an incredible victory, which should be for the undisputed title, if you ask me, but no one cares in my opinion. Who cares? We could deal with all that later. It's an unbelievable thing, and I give you a ton of props for accepting it, for going in there, and I wish you nothing but the best, my friend. And do me a favor, if you could just maybe do your return flight on Tuesday, you come in with the interim title on the Monday after. It would be nice. I mean, I feel like it would be fitting. You come in, you know, on the Monday after with the belt. You put it right here. We have a nice little celebration. What do you say?
We'll see what I can do. We'll see what I can do. But listen, short notice, not the best circumstances, but if my man Michael Bisping can do it, I can do it as well.
Amen.
And I'm sure Mike will tell you that.
Amen. Wish you the best, Tom. Thank you so much. Good luck to you. Can't wait for it. Get her done, my friend.
Thank you, brother.
so much.
I'll speak to you soon.
All right, there he is. Tommy Aspinall, what a fight. That's the one. That's the one. Incredible that the UFC has been able to pull Tom Aspinall and Sergey Pavlovich out of their hat. And then they're able to pull Volkanovski and Islam a week ago out of their hat. And there's a part of me that's like, this is incredible and should be celebrated. There's also a part of me that's like, you know, you want these amazing fights to be under the best circumstances possible. You want these guys to have full training camps and whatnot, but this is just what makes them different, right? This is just what makes these MMA fighters different. It would never like I was talking to someone about this if if Crawford Spence fell through, if one of them got injured, no one was like they don't even think to replace it. It's just a different mentality. It's a different sport. I'm not necessarily saying that one is good and one is bad, but it's just a completely different thing. And so here we have a situation for the second straight pay-per-view. Massive fight falls through. Of course, at 294, there were two massive fights that fell through, and lemonade out of lemons. I do strongly feel, though, and we'll talk about this in about 30 minutes when we get to On the Nose. I do strongly feel that this should be for the undisputed title, for the vacant title, because the truth is, this is not a knock on John or Stipe or anyone else. If he is really back after 8 months, if that is really the case, even if it's 6 months, if it's 6 months from now, that will still be a year after. Like, I believe that if you don't defend the title for a year or can't, if we know already that you won't make it within a year, then, you get the next crack and the division moves along. And it's just, there's no real rhyme or reason to it. Like I said, Yuri Prochazka is fighting on this same card, blew out his shoulder in December. He's returning in November. That's 11 months. And according to him, he could have come back a little bit sooner, too. It's just the way the cookie crumbled. They stripped him, And so I feel like they could have made this for the undisputed title and then had the winner. Because, again, as I just said to Tom, if, in fact, the plan is to do John versus Stipe, and I don't know what they said to Stipe. I've reached out. They're not speaking at the moment. I can't imagine he's too thrilled. He hasn't fought in quite some time, and Lord knows this was going to be a big payday for him. But if they really want to do John versus Stipe, and let's say that's in 8 months, let's say 8 months, and I feel like 8 months is being optimistic, but let's say it is 8 months. That's June or end of June, probably International Fight Week, right? There's usually not a pay-per-view end of June. Well, then the winner of the interim title fight on November 10th is only going to be able to fight in December, January again? How does that make sense? And usually when you make an interim fight, I mean, there was a situation like this with Bisping and GSP where Robert Whittaker won the interim belt and then Bisping and GSP ended up fighting for the undisputed title, coincidentally at Madison Square Garden. It just makes things very clunky. So if you would have made this fight for the undisputed title, winner of this fight fights John Jones, and if Stipe wants to come back at this point, but like it might just be one of those, or you know what? Actually, it could be the opposite. Maybe this is for the undisputed title, and then Stipe fights that guy, and if he wins, then he fights John Jones. I get the Jones component is probably more appealing than the title component at this point because he's never fought Jones and he's won belts before. It's just very clunky at this point, making it an interim belt fight when you still want to do John and Stipe for the actual belt sometime next summer. What happens to the guy who wins this belt? They'll figure it out, but my vote would have been interim title. What about, not interim, undisputed title. What about Aspinall saying that I had a confused look on my face and he thought the Wi-Fi, what is that all about?
I don't know. The chat said you were still struggling with the
You think I was still struggling?
WhatsApp debacle. Yeah, with the Oliveira gate.
It felt like I was off?
No, not off. Just like, you have the look on your face right now. You look a little...
I'm confused.
Yeah, you looked confused.
Squinting a bit.
Listen, I don't know if there's a show on the planet that has to go through all of that in real time with no break to catch your breath. I mean, a little bit, you know, a little sympathy would go a long way, right? Like this is seriously. Is there a show on the planet that goes through something like this?
I've seen a few new shows.
Sure, yeah.
Tell me one. Sure. No break?
There was one on Rachel Maddow once where they had to let a congresswoman go because they couldn't get their shit together.
But did they get to go to a commercial?
They go to commercial to catch their breath.
That's a good point, yeah.
They usually say,
"We have you rapping. We don't need commercials."
The name as a champ. God.
Name as a
champ.
Yeah.
Oh, Feliz Cupiano. That was a good
Yeah,
one. Do you speak in Spanish?
Spanish.
What?
Portuguese, Spanish.
Well, there's a lot of crossover, no?
Yeah, it felt like for a second you were going at us. You were like,
what?
You're usually more professional.
Yeah, like that's the most professional.
We thought that
thing
was
to
a dig for a second.
Which
I'm on the phone
time?
with WhatsApp Portuguese.
When did I say usually more professional? What did I say?
You
said it several times.
You were like, we usually have our shit together, but
look, it's Fabiano. He's excited to be on. I mean, imagine you're on the Tonight Show, and all of a sudden they can't get the guest. I mean, first impression, best impression, no?
I thought that was a good impression. You guys got to chit chat for a while, and then we still got Charles.
I know, but I'm.
And I mean, Fabiano showed out.
You know who wasn't stressed out?
Who?
Charles.
Charles was just.
It was just even keel.
The name is a champ.
You lose or you learn. I mean, we're just killing it today.
Oh my God, you know.
And we still got Mike Breeden in on the nose.
Oh yeah, and the picks.
Oh, and the Parlay Boys.
Oh yeah. We do have to break some news here. No Parlay Boys this week.
Oh wow, thanks for telling me. Why is that? Why? Francis and Tyson not big enough?
Yo, we need to make 4 picks.
I mean, I have a pick.
We could get props involved.
Not that I would be in this week.
Wow.
Yeah, I already told Pena to take the week off. We'll be back next week for
You told her?
Yeah. She asked, actually. That's how committed she is.
Serious? She asked first?
She asked last night. She said, we doing picks this week? I said,
wow. That is amazing.
Take the week off, champ.
Wow.
Back for Sao Paulo.
Okay, fine. No picks. Less work for me.
I do have a couple bets.
Oh, wait, so why? Bets on what? Francis and Tyson?
Yeah, and someone on the Serrano fight, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a Serrano fight. I think this is
like a minus 2,000.
Who? Yeah, but you could get some prop action in there, no? Whose decision was this? Whose
only
decision?
do one from each fight.
Sure.
It's a good week to take the weekend off. We'll be back next week.
You could sprinkle a little CFB in there, a little NBA. No? All right. Money Mike Breeden is coming up. Big win for him this past Saturday. Was down 2 rounds to none. Third round commences, and all of a sudden he's yelling, he's barking, he's freaking intimidating Anshul Jubli, and then he knocks him out. Incredible. His first win in the UFC. He was 0-3 going into that fight, perhaps fighting for his career, certainly in the UFC. Back against the wall, down 2 rounds to none, and he freaking pulls it off. Had a nasty cut above his eye. Did you guys see that cut? That was incredible. I think we have a photo of the cut. I mean, like the thing was just like hanging. At one point, weighed over 300 pounds. I mean, look at that thing. There's like a piece of his eye. It's just like hanging. Ah! What is good? It's just hanging. Do you think it would have been better to just rip it off?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you just say at one point he weighed over 300 pounds?
Yes.
Mike Breeden?
Mike Breeden at one point not too long ago weighed over 300 pounds.
What?
Yes, they actually told this story on the broadcast. He weighed over 3 bills, and I think it was his girlfriend that told him. I think one time his pants split, and his girlfriend said, it's time.
He's 5'10".
I know.
300?
That's what they said.
Now he's in incredible shape. That seems unbelievable.
I know. He doesn't even have like the loose skin or anything like that. Are you calling BS on the 300 pounds?
I mean, look at the guy right here.
Yeah, he's cut.
We're saying this guy was 300 pounds
yes.
Just like a few years ago. He's in incredible shape.
Afterwards, I think he said he was battling a staph infection as well. He did miss weight, unfortunately. We'll talk to him about that. There's a lot to talk to him about. And I do believe that he also works as a construction worker. Something just like flashed in the studio here. Is there?
What's going on?
I don't know. Let's just keep it rolling, man.
A lot of shit going on.
A little electrocution.
I mean,
anyone.
People say, what a crazy Wednesday show. I just say it's Wednesday, It's just Wednesday around these parts. That's what we do. Aspinall a little non-committal when it came to coming in studio. Did you guys feel the same?
Listen, man, I think he's got big things to worry about. He'll get the dub.
You don't think him coming in was top of mind?
No. Big things to focus on. I think it would have been had he not had the fight. I think it would have been here on that Wednesday for sure. But we'll see him Monday.
Monday after.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I could say we haven't announced any of the guests for the live show, but I can tell you Aspinall was on the list.
We're having a live show?
Yeah, November 10th. Aspinall was on the list. No more. Imagine he shows up on the Friday before, night before. Be crazy. Anyway, without further ado, no, I'm not going to ask. You can ask him. You have his phone number. You can ask him on my behalf. Let's talk to Mike Breeden, who had that massive win on Saturday. He joins us now via the magic of Zoom. Hey, Mike.
Hey,
first time, we were just talking about first impressions. You come on my show with a Kansas City Chiefs hat. I mean, what is this all about? I was going to ask you about those dastardly Chiefs, who are kind of, they're non-factors this season. They're too.
Oh, come on.
I mean, they're too interested in dating pop stars and whatnot. I mean, they're too distracted, right? This is all bad.
Oh, they ain't distracted.
I hate the freaking Chiefs.
But come on now, bro.
Yeah, I'm a Bills fan. So you guys broke my heart a couple times. But congratulations on all your success and congratulations on the big win on Saturday.
Oh, thank you.
A lot to discuss there. First of all, considering how the first 3 fights went in the UFC, did you feel like you were fighting for your career? Did you feel like you were fighting for your job?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how are you dealing with that? Were you nervous? Were you anxious?
I had nothing to lose, man. I was like, I need to come out of my shell and show them what I'm about. And I felt that I did. My last 3 fights, I felt like I just wasn't myself. I've had moments in fights, but I just had to get back to my roots and what got me there. I think once I got to the UFC, I was trying to do too much and change my style and try different things and not staying true to myself. And this fight, I was like, I'm just going to get back to my roots and walk him down and put some hands on him.
Okay. So what was going wrong in the first 2 rounds? Because it seemed like you were en route to potentially another loss.
I didn't think I was losing, to be honest with you. Right. Round 1, it was close, but I thought I was winning those exchanges. A lot of punches, he was hitting on my bicep and forearms. Only a few right hands were getting in and a couple of knees, but I think I landed more punches than he did in round 1. Round 2, I said I'd probably give that to him because in the first minute, the first 3 seconds, he hit me with that right hand on my eye, and I couldn't see. So I was freaking out. I wasn't rocked. I just couldn't see in my eye. And so he, punched on me for about a minute, and then the tide started turning. I got pissed off, and the tide started to turn in round 2, and then I knew I had him broke.
When did you
got after him in 3?
When did you suffer that cut?
2 weeks before. 2 weeks ago before the fight. So it was fresh. And then I cut my cheek open too. I had a big old cut right here and then a cut over my eye. So the most important time of my camp, I couldn't really have much contact.
Were you worried that you'd get pulled from the fight once you got to Abu Dhabi? How did you hide these cuts?
I didn't hide them. I got there and said, "This is what I got. Please tell me I can still fight." And they took pictures of it, looked at me, and they're like, "You're good to go."
Wow.
So,
at one point it was just dangling. There was a piece of skin dangling there.
Yeah. I think it was my glue actually.
Oh,
I had
was
glue
it?
on it.
Okay. All right.
Hey, look, your face, my skin. Go ahead.
Okay, that makes more sense. Still pretty gnarly. And I saw the post-fight press conference afterwards. Obviously, you missed weight, and you said it was because you had a staph infection and you were still on antibiotics and whatnot. How difficult was it to try to even get down to the weight that you weighed in at?
super difficult. I believe that I could do it. There's no excuses. I'm going to take that on the chin. I take full responsibility for that. There's no excuses to miss weight. I truly believe that I could do it. And it was really, really hard on me. Yeah, really bad cut, but we got through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fight was still on. Thank Andrew for taking the fight. That was my biggest concern, because it wasn't just like a pound or whatever, or half pound. It was 3.5 pounds. So I apologize to everybody. But yeah, I was on 10 days of antibiotics. I took my last dose Wednesday night. And it was still in my starting cut. I started my weight cut on Thursday, so it was giving me all type of stomach problems. I couldn't stop throwing up and dry heaving and stomach pains. It was I had the nutritionist, I had the medical staff in there. They'd taken my vitals, and they're like, "Your vitals are like not good." I was like, "Well, if I kept pushing it, I probably wouldn't have been able to make it to the fight." So we were like, let's just hope and pray that he takes the fight, and he did. So,
where was the staph infection?
On my arm.
Okay, and how is it now?
It's good now. So, literally, so I got it on. So I flew out on Sunday. So that's 8 days before the fight. I got it on Monday, the week before I flew out, and got on the antibiotics Tuesday. And then they gave me 10-day supply. So that put me to Wednesday.
Okay.
On it. So Wednesday I was cleared all to go. But that was the last week of my last push, and I couldn't have contact with anybody. I didn't want to give nobody staph. I didn't want to spread it around the gym. So I just had to do bag work and cardio on the machine, on the treadmill at my house. So it was a lot of adversity just to get to the fight. So the last 3 weeks with the cuts and the stat, no excuses still, but I just had to pretty much work out on my own mainly, and do bag work and stuff like that, and make the best of it.
Did it mess with your mind? Did you think man, there's just way too many things working against me here?
Yeah, but I just had to keep on going. It was tough, it was tough. But if I would have said no, and let's reschedule the fight, they would have cut me.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. They would have on 0-3 in the UFC, and trying to tell them to reschedule it or push it to the next card, they would have canned me right then and there.
Right.
So yeah, I had no option there.
Did the UFC know about the staph?
I don't think they knew, but when I got there, I told them. Okay. When I got there, I told them. I made everybody, whoever I came in contact with, I told them. And they're like, you're on antibiotics. They're like, yeah, after the first, I think it was 2 or 3 days, it's not contagious anymore after you're on antibiotics. So they're like, you're good to go.
Okay.
So,
and so now back to the fight. Third round, you start, really getting in his head. It seemed like it's almost like you completely threw him off with the barking and just the energy that you brought. Yes. It was have you ever done that in a fight before?
I've never barked, but if you know me in the gym, I pretty much every time I'm drilling, sparring, I'm the loudest one in the room. I'm always making noises when I'm punching and stuff. And then my friends that were with me, my best friends, and my coach was like, when you're training and you're drilling, you're doing pads, you're just so loud and making all these noises. I'm screaming. They're like, but when you fight, you're dead silent. They're like, you need to start barking at this kid. You need to start making noise. And the whole time I was down there, between every round, I kept getting reminded, audible feints. Let's get after this kid. Let's be a dog. And I don't know, just hearing that over and over and over again, I just started barking at him. So I don't know where it came from. I just started doing it.
Could you tell that it was breaking him, that it was throwing him off?
I could feel him breaking in two.
Wow.
Literally, he had that, the first minute of two. There was I said about a minute and 30 seconds, because I went back and rewatched it. And then he hit me in the eye right out the gate of two. And then I couldn't see. I kept touching my eye. And it was just I think he partially poked me in the eye too, kind of with his thumb. And I was just lost my vision for a second. I kind of panicked. And then once I knew I was okay, I got mad. You can go back and watch. I started yelling at him and barking at him, by the end of round two, and I could see him starting to wilt and back up. And I just could feel the presence. Like in round one, he was fighting me for that cage presence. This is, we're fighting each other for the center of the ring. And but round two, he started to back up and started to break. I could feel it, and then I just kept elevating up. And when we got to round three, I got up off the stool going into round three. He was still sitting down, and that's all I needed to know to go get him. You know what I'm saying? I was a shark. I smelled blood. I was going to get him.
What did it feel like when you knocked him out?
Oh, it felt so good.
Huh.
It felt so good. Like it took, like, I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, because I've been dealt a tough hand in the UFC right out the gate. The guys that I fought are no joke, and no favorable matchups. And I'm just glad that I got my hand raised on this one. Anybody that knows me knows that what I'm capable of. I haven't showed the world or the UFC what I'm actually capable of. But if you see round three, that's what I do every day in the gym. Like I just haven't got comfortable on the big stage yet. Mm-hmm. It's just like all the nerves, the overthinking. And if you're thinking in the cage, it's a bad deal. You know what I'm saying? So like you just got to go off instincts. And I felt like I started to find that into like midway 2 to 3, and I started having fun. And I found his timing, I found my range, and it was a wrap.
Was that the last fight on your deal?
Yes, it was.
Are you getting a new deal?
I haven't heard anything. My management is working on that right now, but I have not heard anything yet.
Okay. Are you confident after that one that you'll get a new deal?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, I'm an entertainer, man. Like, why wouldn't you want that? Did you see the whole card that night? I had that place rocking. I put my hand up and they were going crazy because I was just all action. Mm-hmm. So I mean, if they didn't like that and don't want to re-sign me, I don't know what else to do. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
And you have a full-time job, right? In construction?
Yep.
Wow.
Yes.
And what exactly do you
do? Residential electrical and then solar panels, residential and commercial.
Were you back at work on Monday?
Not yet, but I'm probably go to work probably tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
What is that like?
Go ahead.
You just fought in front of a sold-out crowd in Abu Dhabi. You get this knockout, and then you have to go back to the real world. Is that tough for you?
Yeah, it is tough because I would love to do this full time. Luckily I have a job that's kind of helps me with my schedule. When I'm not in camp, I just train once a day. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm in camp, they adjust it for me to where I can show up late to work. I go train for 2 hours and then go back to work for 4 hours and then get off of work, eat, and then go back to the gym and train for 2 hours and then go back home. Like it's really tough. And especially the days that I get personal sessions too. So it's kind of like a 3-day, but it's just more detailed work and trying to make that all work. It's really hard, but it's just what I got to do because I still have to pay my bills and feed my family. Yeah, a lot of these guys do it full time because they have the money to do it. But I got to provide for my family. I can't just put that all on them.
Do you think you're close to getting to that point, or not quite there yet?
I mean, that first UFC contract, it's not money, but I'm not complaining about it. I just got to go earn it, and that's what I went out there and did. I went out there to earn it. It was nice, and hopefully I can get a new deal and a bigger contract so I can get to train full time and, continue to be an entertainer.
If it didn't work out on Saturday, would you have continued fighting? Would you have gone, to the regionals or try to go to a different promotion?
Yeah, I would continue fighting. It would have been heartbreaking. It would be heartbreaking, not getting re-signed. But man, you only live once.
Yeah.
I gotta continue chasing my dreams. I wouldn't. I don't think I'd ever forgive myself if I give up on it. And so, if they didn't re-sign me and I had to go to another organization, then it is what it is. But I'm not gonna quit fighting.
How long ago did you weigh 300 pounds?
Before I got into MMA, that's how actually I lost all the weight. Man, I'd say after I got out of high school, I'd say I was probably like 22, 23. I'd say like 20, about 20 years old. That's right before I started. I think I was like 19, 20. Yeah, I got to 275 is my highest.
Wow.
And my girl was all like, you got to change something, because I wasn't that big when I met her, but, when you fall in love and you're just happy and you're just having a good time, just eating and drinking, and a year later goes by and you're up 150 pounds. And I hated working out. I hated lifting weights. But my uncle was training at a martial arts studio that had MMA after hours. And he told me to go check it out because I'm always like, I was kind of into the fighting and stuff, but I thought I knew how to fight, but I had no idea how to fight. And I really liked it. I got really good workouts out of it and just started losing weight. And then I think like almost 2 years in, I lost 100 pounds. And then they're like, you want to fight?
Wow.
I was like, sure. And I was, just kept on going. And here I am. I never would have, if you would have asked me back then that this is what I'd be doing for a living, I would have laughed.
What did you think you would be doing?
Probably in the restaurant business. Most of my family members own restaurants or run other people's restaurants. I love cooking.
Okay. What's the toughest thing to let go of? Like when you're 275 and you're trying to lose an extreme amount of weight, what was the hardest thing for you to stop indulging in?
At that time, soda. Soda was the main thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I would drink like 2 liters, 2 liters a day. I was just drinking like water.
Wow. Okay. And then, so once you cut that, after a year or so, did you get like from 275 to what? Like, so that would be one, and now you're 155, right? So now what do you walk around at?
I walk around about 80, 180.
Okay. All right. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like how it started is I got to about 200, 210, and then the guy was my coach at the time was all like, hey, get to 185 and we'll get you your first fight. I got to 185. He was like, no, get to 170. And I was like, really? And then he told me 155. And then when I got there, he was like, no, we can get you to 1. I was like, nope, then I'm not fighting then. So yeah, he just kept getting me to drop a little more brackets, setting little goals. And
and I know you were training at Glory. How difficult was that for you once everything happened last year, and where are you now?
Man, it was really difficult. I am at Marathon MMA with Trey Ogden.
Okay.
Yes, but yeah, it was a very difficult time when all that stuff happened. I kind of got blindsided. I had no idea. I think I was like on like vacation and then like haven't been in the gym for 2-3 weeks, and then all that stuff kind of happened, and then kind of just left hanging. I didn't know it kind of, I had to find out from the news.
Wow.
Yeah. But I found a home at Trey's gym at Marathon MMA, and it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. Yeah, I'm better everywhere now. My biggest thing was my conditioning, and that place has definitely fixed it. And I've learned so much there. Trey's done an amazing thing. It's doing amazing with that place, and it's taught me so much. And he's such a great martial artist, coach, friend. I look up to him, great mentor. So I'm so grateful to have him in my corner.
Well, congrats on the win. Good luck in getting that new deal. Hope it works out for you. And incredible stuff. And looking forward to the next one. And I'm assuming maybe in the next one you'll implement a little more barking and whatnot, since it. Let that be your thing. It gave you such great success. Let that be your thing, right?
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, I'm gonna stay barking.
I love it. All the best to you. Thanks for coming on.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, there he is, Mike Breeden, with the big win, Money Mike they call him. Big win on Saturday. One of GC's new favorites, so we had to have him on. And hopefully, I would think after that win, it wasn't just a win, it was a knockout win. And then, the barking and all that, it was quite memorable. Well, I would think that they would re-sign him. Seems like a no-brainer. Let's see what they do. All right, we did the read. I don't have any other reads, right? I could get right into it. Let's get to everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
So many messages about Charles.
Ladies and gentlemen,
4 days ago.
the moment has arrived to hear from the man
Moderator
himself,
Frank back.
Ariel Helwani.
Through the Frank lens.
From the Box Studios
How are the
in
questions
beautiful
today, Frank?
New York
Pretty
City.
good. I
They
haven't
were
had a
pretty
chance.
great.
It's been a real
Christy
busy
Green.
day.
Now,
Yeah, you
to
okay? You
answer
happy?
your questions,
Any
get
hot
out of
tags?
your seats and on your feet
Couple hot
because
tags.
Here he is,
Sweet.
Ariel Helwani.
Yes, it is I. Thank you very much to Mike Heck for that. And let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. Luc Beaumont, or Beaumont, I should say, is up first. Hi, Ariel. After the breaking news concerning UFC 295, I think this just confirms Stipe isn't interested in being an active heavyweight. 8 months is long enough. He could have stayed on the card, won the belt, and fought Jones when he was healed up. I just see Stipe as someone interested in fighting Jones at this point. That's fine given where he's at in his career, but he shouldn't be allowed to fight for the title, as we know he's not sticking around to defend against anyone else. Dana's signing up for another GSP at middleweight if he gives Stipe a title shot. We all know he doesn't like that. I also doubt Jones will want to fight the interim champ over Stipe when he returns. So I would guess Jones and Stipe fight each other in another retirement fight. I agree with the first part of the statement. Okay, fine. I get what you're saying. After which the belt is dropped and the interim title becomes the official title. How do you think this will play out? Love from the Netherlands. Thank you, Luke. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. L-U-C. Listen, I don't know about you guys, and I'd love to get GC's take on this, Rick's take on it, anyone's take. I don't feel like Jones and Stipe at this point has any juice to it whatsoever. I really don't. It's been so long since Stipe fought. I get it means something to Jones, and I understand the historical value, but if Aspinall steamrolls Pavlovich, or vice versa, to me, the more interesting fight is Jones versus... Like, we can't make this heavyweight title the legacy title. If Jones really wants to fight Stipe, then even more reason to make this the vacant title fight. If Stipe really wants to fight Jones, even more reason. But you can't hold up the division, and you can't tell two young bulls, youngish bulls, like Sergey and Tom, hey, you got to wait until these guys have their legacy fight. And so, yeah, maybe this goes down as one of those great what-if fights that was booked and never came to fruition. Lord knows there's been a few of them. But you can't tell me that come July of next year at the earliest, maybe even later, who knows how this thing heals up, he hasn't had the surgery yet, that John Jones versus Stipe for the undisputed heavyweight title makes any sense whatsoever when you'll have an interim champion, and it will have been over a year since John's last fight, only fight at heavyweight, and what, 3 or so years? Over 3 years since Stipe's last fight. You know, everyone's scoffing at Francis being, the real champ and all this stuff. Like, what do you say now? You know what I mean? So I get what this man is saying, and this is all the more reason as to why the fight on November 10th or 11th, I should say, should be for the undisputed title. It should be for the vacant title. And then if Jones and Stipe want to fight each other, let them fight in a non-title fight. To be honest, Jones and Stipe don't even need a title. It's that kind of legacy fight. Do you really need a heavyweight title attached to that fight? Jones just wants to fight Stipe because of who he is in the heavyweight division, and vice versa. Stipe wants to fight John because of who he is in the history of the sport. Let the division play out with the belt. Let them fight, and then the winner, if they want, because remember, there was some rumors that they were both going to retire come November 11th. Don't have the belt attached to that. You don't need the belt. Some fights don't need belts attached to it. That's one of them. Let Tom, let Sergey, let everyone else at heavyweight realize their dreams as well. I believe Rick is there. Rick, agree or disagree?
Disagree from the agree with most of it. Let me start with that. Agree with most of it. Disagree from the perspective that, like, if I'm John Jones, why would I want to fight Stipe Miocic without a title on the line? That doesn't do anything. Like, he needs to have a heavyweight championship legacy to build. That's what the whole point of this thing of going up to heavyweight was for. So
okay, let's start here. Do you agree with the decision to make Aspinall Pavlovich for the interim title, or do you agree with me that it should be for the vacant title?
It depends on the conversation that was had with John Jones. If John Jones is saying, I'm going to be back and I'm going to defend this title, then I agree that they should have made it interim, and that's the correct call.
But Dana said 8 months.
If it's 8 months, it's 8 months. As long as John is telling me I'm coming back to defend this title.
But it can't be forever. 8 months, it's going to be over a year since his last fight.
Francis sat on the sideline for a year with no hopes of defending the title. That's just...
They could have stripped him. They were the ones holding out hope that he was coming back. He didn't hold up the belt.
Are you asking me, should the UFC strip John Jones? The answer is no. John Jones should hold on to that belt as long as he possibly can, and they should have it on John Jones as long as they possibly can. If John Jones is going to defend it. Now, if John Jones says, hey, I really don't have interest in coming back and defending this belt, then make it for the real title. But if John Jones is giving you the indication that he'll be back, then yes, this is the correct move.
What if it's John Jones is giving you the indication that he'll be back, but he wants to defend the title against Stipe when he's back?
Fine by me if I'm the UFC. That's what they wanted to do in the first place.
But you're making an interim title fight. Now you're making an interim title fight, and the interim champ is just going to sit there.
Interim title fight has always been number one contendership. It's not a real belt.
But then you're going to have those guys sitting there for, it could end up being till early 2025 by the time they get back in there.
Right.
Because, why would you accept the fight at that point if you hold the interim title? You essentially have your golden ticket to get a title fight.
They can put on interim title fights in the meantime if they need to. And those guys would be happy to fight John Jones on the back end of it if John Jones is still there and able to fight. That's the reality is John Jones is the kingmaker in this whole equation.
Right, but why would they take an additional interim title fight and not just wait it out until John Jones, which could potentially be early 2025?
Why would who do that? Why would
whoever wins the interim title? Yes.
It might not. Maybe they'll just sit and wait for the winner of Stipe and John.
And that means that person may not fight for the entire calendar year.
And their reward is fighting John Jones, assuming that he wins, and I will assume that he wins.
Wins and sticks around. Wins and sticks around because it was all this stuff. It's too much. It's too much
This is the sport. We're seeing it with Michael Chandler right now. Sometimes you have to take the risk and wait. If you want the big prize, if you want the opportunity, if you want the Conor McGregor, if you want the John Jones, this is the gambit.
The difference
is the game that you have to play.
The difference is Michael Chandler has 5 or 6 fights recently under his belt where he was making close to $1 million. Tom, Sergey aren't making that money. They need to fight. They have to fight.
He's also not waiting for a title shot. He's waiting for a fight with Conor McGregor.
A. B.
Yeah, that's the payday. That's the prize.
Sure.
This prize is John Jones.
I just don't understand. Make it for the undisputed belt.
The heavyweight championship is not the prize here.
Of course.
A fight with John Jones is the prize. So interim, not interim, it does not matter. What they are angling for is to win this fight and then fight John Jones.
I just think it makes things so much cleaner. If you make this for the undisputed title, John Jones comes back. If he wants to fight Stipe, because you don't need the title, as you just said, the prize is John Jones. Do John versus Stipe, have these guys fight, and if John or Stipe wins that fight and wants to fight for the belt, then let them have the first crack at the belt.
But
if all they care about is each other and not Sergey and Tom, let the division play out and let those guys, rack up the pay-per-view points. Why?
I don't hate that. But if I'm John Jones, am I saying, yeah, good, let them fight for the belt?
No. I'm not willingly giving it up if I'm John Jones.
Right.
Just I'm not saying that.
To.
I'm saying the UFC should have done that. I'm not saying, of course, John should hold on to it.
Where does that put John Jones in the UFC's book if they do that to him? John, we're taking your belt and we're going to have them fight for it. When you come back, if you come back and want to fight those guys, great. If you don't, see you later.
If you come back and want to fight those guys, you'll be treated as a champion. You'll get pay-per-view points just like Yuri Prochaska is getting pay-per-view points, as I learned today. You'll be treated as a champion, and you'll get the first crack at the belt. But we got to keep this thing rolling along. It's the exact same thing they told us as to why they stripped, Yuri and why they...
Go ahead. But those guys are not John Jones.
Yeah,
I'm concerned about my relationship with John Jones more than I'm concerned about whether Sergey or Tom gets the real belt or an interim belt. If I'm the UFC.
You are correct, Rick.
No, they've done this to other people. I mean, they stripped Conor McGregor.
They're not John.
They stripped Conor McGregor of the featherweight title after he just won the lightweight title, and he said he was going to try to defend both, and he was pissed off about that. Like,
that's the point. He was pissed off about that.
I know, but they've done it, and everyone's good. And Conor loves the UFC now. He bigs them up every chance he gets.
These are the last fights of Jon Jones' career. I'm not pissing him off at the end. I want these fights out of Jon Jones.
I'll just say this: this isn't going to play out the way they think it's going to play out.
I could buy.
It's going to be.
I could buy that this plan goes to complete shit, and none of this plays out.
I mean, you got to sit with one eye open as a UFC fan. I mean, it feels like every other.
This ain't playing out.
Up, and it's just like, what is going on?
Until Jon Jones gives me any indication that it's not happening, I'm keeping him as my champion. It's just more valuable for me to have him, and also it's more valuable for me to have him as the carrot to dangle for Tom and for Sergey.
Okay, so then let me ask you this: Jones from the UFC's perspective, what's the bigger fight? The winner of Sergey versus Tom versus John, or John returning versus Stipe?
I would think, especially if they have a dominant performance, if Sergey or Tom go out there and finish the other, I would imagine that becomes a bigger fight. I just think the juice is squeezed out of Stipe. He's been out for too long. It really just became a thing where Jon Jones looked at his resume and said, "This is the guy that I need to beat to provide my heavyweight legacy," and it looks good on a poster. But if Tom Aspinall or Sergey Pavlovich roll into MSG and absolutely obliterate one or the other, I would think that the demand for that becomes massive.
And then
I would
the highlight
imagine
reels
that
they
becomes a
have to
bigger
sell the
fight.
fight. Like the highlight reels that Aspinall and Pavlovich have, just first round finish after first round finish, and they're just this new breed of heavyweight that is coming to take out Jon Jones. Like, you could really sell that.
Yes, 100%.
I think Stipe would get boxed out.
Yes, that's what I feel. And I feel for Stipe. Stipe is 2 weeks away from arguably the biggest payday of his career, headlining MSG against John. This sucks. This really sucks. I feel for him. I understand why. And again, I want to hear this from him. I want to hear it out of the horse's mouth, why he's not fighting on this card. If you're that close, there's a part of me, and you're at the tail end of your career, just take the fight, take the payday, and then deal with the ramifications. But I want to hear it from him one day. Hopefully he talks about it. But I just feel like the way this crazy sport moves, you'll have an interim champion, and who knows when John's going to... I feel like there's a scenario where he gets boxed out here, and the bigger fight ends up being, especially it's Tom, who has a big fan base and a growing fan base, it ends up being, if he wins, Tom versus John. I feel like that ends up being the bigger fight.
And inevitably what's going to happen, right? Like, you're not going to hear Jon Jones is ducking Stipe Miocic, right? Nobody's going to say that right now, even though John pulled out of this fight, even though like you'll hear Charles Oliveira doesn't want to fight Islam Makhachev. He gave himself a cut. You'll hear stupid shit like that. You'll just hear that, but you won't hear that about John ducking Stipe. But what you will hear is if Tom or Sergey have a really impressive performance, one or the other, you will definitely hear that Jon Jones doesn't want that smoke. And how does that affect Jon Jones? If Jon Jones starts hearing that and says, you know what, maybe it is time for me to come back and teach them a lesson. Now you've got a massive fight. Now you've got an absolutely humongous fight. You've got them as interim champ. You got him as champ. It'll all work. If it plays out that way, it will all work. And Stipe gets boxed out, unfortunately. Yeah. That's just the reality of it. That is unfortunate, but that is the reality of it.
I said from the beginning they should have done Aspinall versus Pavlovich on this card, number one contender. I feel for Tom. I understand why he's taking the fight, but golly, we went through a long stretch of these short notice fights not happening, and now it's back to back. Just like I maintain, Islam may beat Volkanovski with a full camp. I believe in my heart of hearts until I die that it doesn't happen like that. I want to see the best fight the best at their best. I know it's exciting for everyone, and I know it's a jolt, and it's like, hey, this is what makes MMA and the UFC in particular so great. I get it. It's fun. It's rock'em sock'em robots. But I want to see Aspinall at his best. I want to see a full training camp. I want to see Pavlovich at his best. I want to see Volk at his best. And so it's exciting, but it's a little bit bittersweet as well. I want to see these guys with full training camps and not say, what if? Well, what about this? And what if he had a training camp? And what if he was in better shape? And this guy was in shape, and this guy did have the training camp. Remember, Pavlovich, as Tom said as well, was training to be the backup fighter. Not great. Obviously, it's a fun situation, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. It's the fight that I wanted to see all along, and I believe the winner of this fight should fight Jon Jones. And I wonder, and also, can I just say, it's a little bit sad. If this is the way Stipe's career ends, a little bit sad. right? If he gets boxed down, then it just says like, to hell with it. And it almost feels quite fitting for his personality for him to just walk away and say, to hell with it. That's kind of crappy too. The most decorated heavyweight champion of all time.
He deserves better than that. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those scenarios, and I think it's becoming more true than ever, right? Like, you know how Dana White has always said, like, we give you an opportunity, and if you pass on it, but like just all this stuff, it seems more true than ever that they are willing to move on if you don't take the first available option. If you're not saying yes to everything, the train moves on. And that would be a very unfortunate way for Stipe's career to end, because he deserves better than that. And this fight felt like the better than that, right? This fight felt like Stipe, win or lose this fight against John Jones, this would be a perfect capper to the career, right? Mm-hmm. Here it is. He got the big opportunity, MSG heavyweight title. It's either sink or swim, and then we move on. But now it's dicey. So yeah, I'm extremely curious to see what he has to say. He's the one who I'm most curious about in this scenario.
Yeah. Fascinating times in the sport. Okay, let's move along. Peter, what's the crack, Ariel? What's the crack, Peter? Kamaru Usman just put on a great performance, but with 2 losses to Leon, he isn't getting that shot. What would you say about a gatekeeper matchup with him and Bobby Knuckles? Thanks for the show. Appreciate you opening up about anxiety. Well, if Colby Covington beats Leon in December, everything changes. Kind of don't mind Kamaru taking just fun fights. Robert is a former welterweight, having tremendous success at 185. I wouldn't hate it. I certainly wouldn't hate it. Obviously, the loss to DDP puts Robert a little bit back in that line, in that queue at 185. So yeah, I don't hate it at all. Would be fun. 2 former 170 pounders, 2 former champions going toe to toe. The more I talk about it, the more I like it. And honestly, I want to see more of Kamaru, especially with the success that he had on Saturday. Like, I'm not ready to write him off. That was great stuff. Boy, hello, Ariel and crew. Considering how important fighter safety is, isn't it crazy that so many people thought Johnny Walker should have gotten 5 minutes to recover? Even when someone gets hit incredibly hard, they might still want to continue after 5 minutes. But should they? If they are concussed, they should take months off. Getting back in there straight away seems like a bad idea. Another question regarding the same fight. Would Walker have grounds to make an appeal? And if so, what are the odds of the decision being turned into a DQ? Much love, boy, from Brighton. Shout out to Brighton. Great football club. Back end of the question. Yeah, that's probably a question that I could have and should have asked him. It's a little bit funky with those international commissions. UFC very much in charge. But, I mean, it's very rare that these things get overturned. Ultimately, I don't think he really cares if it's a DQ or no contest. I think he cares if he gets his show and win. And then I think he cares if they run it back. So let's see what the UFC does. Do they pay him? Do they make it right, as Dana White said? Do they run it back, or is he now the number 1 contender? I think he would want all those scenarios much more than it being overturned and he doesn't get, the win and all that. I always find it funny in those situations that even get 50% of the win, something that money was being allocated to one of the 2 guys. Wasn't his fault. Would anyone be upset? Would anyone think it's the wrong call if the guy who got blasted in his face gets his win? I don't think so. First part of the question, considering how important fighter safety is, isn't it crazy that so many people thought Judge? I mean, if he's saying he's not injured, then you want to see them fight it out. I mean, guys are getting punched in the head throughout the fight. They're getting kneed in the head, and they come back and fight. Like, then you could say every time someone gets blasted, the fight should just be stopped. So, yes, I understand the sentiment, but if he's saying he was good to go and knew exactly where he was, then, I mean, it's cage fighting. Let them fight. Chris Kingsland. Hi, Ariel. If you're Max Holloway, are you making more noise right about now? I feel like this is Holloway's big chance to become champ again. Here's the thing about Max Holloway. You don't need to make noise. And also, if you have a great manager, which he does, Tim Simpson, you're making that noise behind the scenes. There are some people who need Twitter to rally around them or feel like, but really business is being done behind closed doors. You don't need to. So who knows what they're doing behind closed doors? Let's not just look at Twitter or Instagram to make quote unquote noise. That's fun for you and I, but I'm sure they're having conversations and I'm sure they're doing their due diligence, campaigning, whichever way they want this to go. He also writes, the MMA Hour award show slowly looming. Could we add an award? I would love post-fight one-liners. Oliveira, wow! What?
Read it carefully.
Oh, my God. I wish I read these before. What are the chances? Chris writes this. I would love post-fight one-liners. Oliveira, the champion, has a name. His name is Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira. You knew this was coming, Frank. Was this like anticipated? Yeah. You just saw me barreling right into this, right?
It was quite funny.
Yeah, maybe we need that now so I can forever remember this moment. Ben P. Hello, Ariel and crew. I have a question regarding UFC 300. Oh, I can't wait. He says, just kidding. That was good. Oh, my God. I'm actually happy now that I didn't read these before. Why do you think Nate Diaz is so against fighting Jake Paul in MMA? Is he really that bothered by the PFL brand? I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he likes the UFC. He's a UFC lifer. You know what? Can I just say something? Can Jake Paul and Nate Diaz go their separate ways? Talk about a feud that has no juice left to it. Can they go their separate ways? Agree or disagree, gents? GC, like, why are we even doing this? I think we're done.
I actually only have interest in MMA. I don't want to see the boxing again.
I have interest in nothing. Let's go.
I'd watch MMA. I'd watch MMA.
I want to see Nate fight an MMA guy. Let's just move on.
There are fights that I want to see Nate fight more than Jake Paul. But I'm just saying.
There's some people who have magic
MMA.
together.
Boxing, none.
These two have no magic together. Does that mean there's nothing? I don't feel... Connor and Nate, give me them 10 times. I don't feel anything here. Am I wrong for saying that? Does that mean?
I don't know. I feel something, but...
I'm with you. I'm only interested in it from the angle that Jake Paul seems to be willing to commit to fight MMA if it's against Nate Diaz, and I don't know if that's true.
He doesn't really seem that
committed
committed to it, to be honest.
Well, I mean, MVP, his most valuable promotions, put out the tweet that they have accepted PFL's offer to fight MMA against Nate Diaz.
I wonder if there's any world where they just know Nate Diaz won't fight in PFL.
It's possible.
That's why they're saying.
That's my only interest, though. As far as the like specific pairing, yeah, I don't really care at all. But if Jake Paul's gonna fight anybody in MMA, sure. And if it's Nate Diaz, sure, I'll take it. But that's it. That's the only interest I have is Jake Paul going to MMA. And if Nate Diaz is willing to be his first opponent, great.
I'd rather him concern himself with something else, someone else. I don't know. I just don't feel it right now.
There's the heat between the two is really like pretty like considering the fact that like security teams were brawling and they're doing this, like you would think that there'd be more heat. I really don't care. I really have lost
compare that to the heat between Jake and KSI, right?
Yeah,
that feels nuclear.
There's true bad blood and animosity there. Yeah.
Ben continues, I do not understand the loyalty to the UFC after how he was treated on the way out. Instead, he'll push for a rematch in boxing, lose again, and then say I would have beat you in a real fight when he had the chance to do just that. Why do you think this is becoming a trend for MMA fighters? Fight in boxing, then complain it isn't a real fight. Is this all down to money? Do they not realize how silly they sound? Okay, well, that's a totally different thing. And I said, I don't want to hear that anymore. Stop with that. Stop with it. You sign up for a boxing match, fight the boxing match, and then, take it on the chin, and that's it. Like, this whole thing, I don't think Francis is going to say it on Saturday if he loses. But this whole thing, like Dylan did the same thing. I would have beat you. Like, no, that's not what you're signing up for. That's like, signing up to play someone in one-on-one basketball and saying, well, I would have beaten you if this was an arm wrestling competition. Like, that's not what we're doing. We're boxing, and we're finding out who's the better boxer. We know that Nate is the better MMA fighter and martial artist. That's not up for debate. But what we're trying to figure out is if the MMA veteran who has been in countless fights in a cage is better than the, relatively fresh, new, novice boxer with less than 10 fights on his resume, pro and amateur. That's what we're trying to figure out here. So we already established, we don't need to establish that. So I agree. It's a little bit silly. And Jake hasn't announced who his opponent is going to be. My inclination is it's not an MMA fighter, but who knows? There's no real clues out there just yet. But it's on December 15th, and that is rapidly approaching. Perhaps they announce it this weekend. Frank, you going to the fight in Orlando, the Amanda Serrano fight?
I'm not going to be able to make it.
Some fan you are. All right.
Oh, you were going, right?
Well, I mean, I'm not an unabashed Serrano.
That makes sense, yeah.
Hi, Ariel. Love the show. In each division, Who's your champion if it was a 125-minute round rather than 5 5s? Each division, you want me to go through each division right now? Great cardio doesn't necessarily mean success, but how different do you think fights would be? Shout out to Frank's randomizer. Cheers, G from Glasgow. I mean, each division.
Maybe just middle.
Thanks, Frank. Let's start with heavyweight. Who can go the full 25 minutes? I mean, I kind of like Aspinall's chances. I'll go Aspinall at heavy. I'll go light heavy. Bit of a massive situation. I'll go Alex. I'll go Alex at light heavy. Pereira, that is. At middleweight, I'll go Hamza. No, I'm just joking. I'll go Paulo. No, I'm just joking. Whitaker. I feel like Whitaker has good cardio. I mean, is he?
Strickland's probably the guy, right? Like literally every single round exactly the same.
Fair. Welterweight, I feel like Leon has pretty good cardio. I feel like the listeners are just dying right now. They're going to sleep. Me answering this question.
This is the equivalent of the boxing. This is the equivalent of the boxing real fight thing.
Yeah.
It's the exact same.
Frank,
it's like
those questions
this is not
where
real
people are
fighting.
like,
this is real fighting. It's
give
just
me your top
G is
five.
never gonna ask another question again.
Give me your top
all the way
five.
from Glasgow.
I mean,
God.
if you could say like, give me the one guy, but you want me to go through every weight class right
I
now?
just told you could do middleweight, and you did it. Good job.
Yeah, and I screwed it up. Strickland was the right one. Who has the best cardio in MMA? Period. Male or female? Who's number one?
Merab Dvalishvili, no doubt.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, there you go.
His style is just not sustainable for literally anybody but him. It's impossible.
That's a great one. Yeah, 100%. I mean, his main event fight against Jan, it was just like it felt like he could go 15 more rounds. Dominic Hiawani, do you have any idea when you'll be covering a WWE event again? I love hearing you talk all things wrestling. Wow, thank you. Actually, I don't know. So the WWE deal with TNT Sports, who I usually do the wrestling stuff for, that's, the network formerly known as BT in the UK. It's up this year, and I don't know what's going to happen, as is my deal with them. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I was at Money in the Bank. I wasn't at SummerSlam. It was the same night as Diaz, Paul. I don't think I'm going to Survivor Series. Maybe Royal Rumble. That would probably be the next one. Not that far away. It's only like 3 months away in Tampa at Tropicana Field. So let's earmark that. But really, I mean, who knows where they'll be and who knows where I'll be. But let's say probably Royal Rumble. Mean Tangerine. And I enjoy it as well, especially the sit-downs, the Ariel meets. I've enjoyed those immensely over the last couple of years. Anyone watch Real Sports last night? Dan Hurley piece? Anyone check that out?
I didn't.
GC, big CBB guy?
Yeah, big Connecticut guy too. I'll watch it this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Came out late, man. 10 o'clock. That's past my bedtime.
Rick? Real Sports?
He was a little busy.
I was out of commission yesterday,
I mean,
oh yeah,
just
I
watch.
forgot, man.
I mean,
So
it's
sorry,
just-
Ariel.
Rick's a trooper for being here.
No, I know, but just watching. Real
I mean, 10 o'clock, man.
Brian Gumbel is
We got to fast forward through a bunch just to get to you.
29 years Emmys. There I am, sitting. I'm hobnobbing with like a broadcasting legend, royalty.
Yeah, man. We got plenty of time to watch
Rising
it.
tides.
Yeah.
If this is the same reaction on Monday, then we kind of have an issue.
Meaning, if you guys haven't watched by Monday,
Yeah, then it's like, oh,
All right,
man,
fair.
you guys really don't care, huh?
12-minute.
Right.
It's like a 12-minute story.
I mean, it came out real late last night.
Yeah.
Obviously breaking news overnight. Had to
That's
make
right.
adjustments on the fly. I mean,
You knew that was coming.
yeah.
Mean Tangerine. Hey, Ariel, what are the chances we see a plethora of announcement this week from Dana White solely just to spite and take focus off of Fury and Ngannou? I mean, I don't think he planned this one. I certainly don't think he planned this one, but it kind of worked, right? The Jones thing. I don't think it's something that they were hoping for, But I don't think so. I mean, the fight is happening at this point, like 3 days away, and then they'll move on with their lives. I don't foresee something. And maybe a nice little Friday announcement, but what are they going to announce? Volk isn't ready to return, and that was supposed to be the main event for, like, what is big enough to, I guess Conor would be big enough, but let's see. I'm not hearing anything, but I've been proven wrong. Well, actually, I'm not usually proven wrong, so I can't really say that. But
you have to just come down to one answer.
Connor, this is from Connor with an O. Ariel, double N. Could this happen and be a good product? UFC transitions to a team-based format like NFL, MLB, NBA. I already want to sleep. With fighters forming teams of, oh my God, 4 in the same weight class. Seasons consist of 6. Oh, what is this? The PFL? You're explaining the PFL right here. 6 monthly fights, top tier fighters, second string, 2. This is fighting, all right? I don't want all these gimmicks. It's not the NFL. It's not Major League Baseball. It's not seasons and standings and all this stuff. It worked for the PFL, but no, I don't want that. I want this guy fighting this guy to advance his career to get to this title. That's it. That's all I want. Teams have salary caps and GMs, drafts, and free agency. No, look up something called the International Fight League back in the day. It was sort of like this, and it was a failure. So I'm not trying to be mean, but no, none of this. Please. Oh, he's even saying team. Oh, wow. London, NYC, Vegas teams. No. Please, Connor.
Should we get a pit as well? Maybe put this circled by a pit.
Oh, my God. What a disaster. What, like the Yama pit?
You know it.
God. Do you remember at the very end of PFL, they tried to do like I think it was called what was it called? The IFL, did I say IFL or PFL? IFL back in the day fought in a ring, which was fine. Never really loved the ring, to be honest, for MMA. I know Pride had the ring, but with wrestling and all that, it just made it a little clunky, and the cage has become just so synonymous with MMA, cage fighting. But then at the very end, they never actually fought in this structure. It was either an 8-sided or 6-sided ring, a la TNA Impact Wrestling. They introduced this. Do you remember this, Rick? I think it was an 8-sided ring, and they were calling it something. And then, let me see if I can get the name. IFL. This is even before Rick was on the program. This is like 2007, 8.
Yeah, even I don't have a recollection of what the hell.
Oh yeah, this was good. IFL 8. 2007. What grade were you in, GC?
Third. Oof.
For real?
No.
Oh.
No,
seriously, what grade were you?
7th. It's just that easy. You can just correlate the year with what grade I was in.
IFL. I wrote here it is. Yeah, this is the picture. Wow, look at that. Oh, it was called the Hex. 6-sided ring. Sorry. Yes, the Hex, they called it. It actually...
Kind of a cool name.
Yeah, it was not bad. It was going to allow for strategic benefits. All right. Here it is. From Sports Illustrated. May 9th, 2008. You were in 2nd grade, GC?
8th grade.
No, I think he said...
You said, of course.
I said 3rd, so then I got to 2008, and I went back to 2nd. 8th grade.
The International Fight League on Thursday announced the creation of a new hexagon-shaped ring that will be used in all of the promotion's future fights, starting with an August 15th event at the Izod Center in New Jersey. The ring was made for the IFL in conjunction with Throwdown Industries and will feature a 6-sided ring with 5 ropes enclosing the surface. Never happened. Crazy. We move along. Jason, Mr. Magnificent Mysterious Frank. Wow.
I actually thought this question was for you.
Oh, no, this is for you. Do you follow Formula One and the recent dominance by Red Bull Racing? I'm patiently waiting for Ariel to interview Sir Lewis Hamilton in studio, perhaps. Jason from Atlanta. So Jason is asking if you follow Formula One. Are you a big F1 guy?
I don't. My brother's huge into it. That's the furthest I've gone.
I'm only a Daniel Ricciardo fan.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton, that feels like a big get.
That's a big get. In studio, huh? Wow.
He's just going to drive the car in here?
Should we do that on the same episode as LeBron in studio? Or should we do that?
Talking about.
Should we do that after the Pat Mahomes in studio appearance? My brother loves F1. My brother's been watching F1 since the early 90s. Montreal's a big F1 town, and every June they come to Montreal. They come to the Gilles Villeneuve track. Of course, the famous Gilles Villeneuve, father of the great. What was his son's name? Anyone?
Mario Andretti?
Jacques Villeneuve, former Indy 500 winner who then transitioned to F1. Never quite, had the same success in F1. Anyway, my brother's been watching for a long time, but never got into the cars. Not even a car guy now. Like, I couldn't really care less about cars, to be honest. People get into, like, Tyson's talking about the G-Wagon and all that. I don't even know what that is. What is a G-Wagon? Is a G-Wagon, I'm assuming it's like some sort of truck? I couldn't even care less. It's not my thing.
It's a luxury Mercedes-Benz truck. Yeah.
There you go. You a big car guy, Rick?
I used to be. When I was a kid, I was like a Motor Trend subscriber and really into cars. Now, not as much. Casual F1 fan, like probably on the level that you're at. Yeah, definitely loved watching Top Gear, but never, like, I was not a gearhead by any means, but I definitely kept more track of cars when I was
feel like
younger.
not knowing what a G-Wagon is. That's really not knowing cars at all.
Yeah, I know nothing.
Well, G-Wagon is very, like, if you know rap music and
I've heard it.
Basketball, you'll know what
I've
it
heard.
is as well.
I won't lie. I've heard people say it, but like, could I? If you brought 5 luxury cars in front of me, could I tell you which is the G-Wagon? No.
Mercedes, kind of boxy.
Super boxy Mercedes.
The truck.
But yeah, I mean, if you don't know, you don't know. Yeah.
No, it's not a truck. Like, it's like when you guys say truck, do you guys mean like SUV?
It's a utility vehicle.
Yeah, utility vehicle. SUV.
I prefer
truck. I think
sport utility.
Truck. I think
vehicle.
Truck. I think like pickup truck.
Yeah, well, you got a weird definition of truck.
Do I? I feel like it's in the name, isn't it? Utility vehicle too. I feel like it's both in the names.
Are you? By the way, are you quoting Sprinter by Central C when you say SUV like that? SUV?
No. SUV.
Do you know that song?
No.
You guys still don't know that song?
No.
500 meters. SUV. SOS. Somebody rescue me. You don't know that? That's all my kids listen to. Man. Central C. Do you know who Central C is?
SUV? No. Central C.
You don't know who Central C is?
No.
Frank, please tell me you know Central C.
Yep.
You don't know Central C?
This is your kid. This is your kid's favorite artist.
He's like the biggest thing in UK rap. He just had a single come out with Drake. She don't listen to UK rap.
I know Central C from I think he was one of the chicken shop dates, and I've definitely seen him around on TikTok.
Gigantic. He's gigantic. Yeah. She don't listen to UK rap. You don't know that?
I know of him more than I know him. You know what I mean?
By the way, you heard Central C in Manchester. They were playing a ton of Central C GC at the weigh-ins.
Didn't you name check Central C like in the
the weigh-in show? Because he's the freaking man. Yeah. Wow. You guys are making fun of me for not knowing what a G-Wagon is. You don't know maybe the biggest rap star in the game right now. C, by the way, is CEE.
Yeah. I found him on Google.
All right. Hut, Ariel, watching Nathaniel Wood lose the fight at 294 against Muhammad Naimov was one of the most infuriating conclusions to a fight I can remember. Naimov blatantly cheated at least 5 times, numerous low blows, fence grabs at crucial times, fingers holding inside the gloves of Wood. The referee didn't take a single point, although he did talk to Naimov on at least 3 occasions. When is enough enough? Do you think Wood has legitimate grounds for asking for this decision to be overturned? Love the show. Love the watch party. All caps. Thanks, guys. Tough. Again, like I said previously, it's always very hard to get these fights overturned. But I agree. And I also agree that, it should just be a warning. Everyone knows what you can and can't do. Now, there are some things you could tell maybe in the flow. Oh, they did this, they did that. Fine. But everyone knows. You hit someone below the belt, that's a point. I'm sorry. You hit someone in the eye with the finger, that's a point. I'm sorry. There has to be, look, in football, I'm sure that cornerback didn't mean to bump that wide receiver in the end zone on a 65-yard Hail Mary. But guess what? it's still a pass interference, and you got to live with the ramifications. You can't. I hear some people saying like, "Oh, no. In a 3-round fight, you can't take a point away." It's just, well, what about in the freaking Super Bowl when you're the Eagles and you get called for pass interference, and now all of a sudden they're about to score a touchdown on you? Like, no, there has to be ramifications. There has to be a punishment. MMA, maybe more so than any other sport, is the best sport to cheat in, because you grab the fence, takedown, you stop the takedown, change the trajectory of the fight, you poke a guy in the eye, you hit him below the belt, you knee him while he's down, and everyone's like, oh, cheer up, Buttercup, dust yourself off, keep on fighting. It's ridiculous. So yes, I think it should be warning in the locker room, and if you do something illegal, if there's an infraction of any kind, just like if you grab someone's face mask, it's 15 yards, just like when you swat a ball that's going in, it's a goaltend, 2 points, you get penalized. Sorry. If you don't like it, don't do it. Right, Frank?
Well said.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate everyone who sent in questions. Great job, Frank. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I really liked picking these out.
Yeah. Still positive over there?
Yeah.
On the Substack? No, because I really like the positive.
It is very positive. Yeah.
It's nice. It's not like that Reddit place that you like to visit.
Even more positive on Reddit.
Wow, really? Reddit's very positive?
It really is. They don't tolerate too much bullshit.
I like that. Is that your favorite one?
Probably. I used to hate it, and then now I can't.
You can't get enough.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll sign up for Alistair Overeem's app about the phone?
No. I don't have a problem.
I am very curious to see how this app, works, how it pans out. I'm very curious. I look forward to it very much. All right, so them's the questions. Usually around this time, I throw it over to GC for some picks, but you're telling me there's no parlay, but there is picks, yes?
I mean, I just have 2 picks.
Okay, what do we got?
One in each fight. We'll start with the Amanda Serrano fight. A lot of controversy surrounding her last fight when we were in Dallas. Will it go over? Will it go under? There was promises made. Promises not delivered, as we remember in the...
Oh, yes, I remember this.
In Senior Bean, the debate of Senior Bean. People were calling it Bean Gate. Mike Heck and Rick talked me into playing the under. Unfortunately, it did not hit there.
Didn't you change your pick, actually, on their request, or at least they convinced you to, or am I crazy?
Not just change the pick, cashed out a winning bet, placed a losing bet. But what are we going to do? We're going to go right back to the well.
Oh, yeah.
This time we are going to take fight does not go to a decision, but here's why. Amanda Serrano, 45 wins, 30 coming by way of knockout, but for the first time ever, she will be fighting in a 12-round, 3-minute round championship bout. So what we saw in Dallas was 20 minutes. This one on Saturday could go as long as 36. I don't think Danilo Ramos is going to be a huge threat to her. She has next to no knockout power, only 1 knockout in her career. Amanda Serrano is as tough as they come. I don't think she's going to be put out, and I think that additional minute with each round is just going to give her more time to work. She's obviously got power. She can break her down, and I don't think Ramos is going to be able to last the full 36, the full 12 rounds here. So at this price, essentially even odds, I like it to not go to a decision. Now, the Tyson Fury and Ngannou fight, I thought about not even making a graphic for this just because I have actually had a bet placed since July 11th on this one. The line has been cooked to no end. I threw it in our group chat when I was placing the bets. I knew it was going to move. But I am very, very heavily exposed on the man who came on the show earlier today, Tyson Fury. I took him at minus 400. I put 6 units down on it. Have been sitting on that now for 3.5 months. So hopefully it pays off. I honestly forgot even placing the bet. So it's like the money never even came. So it'll be like a special gift if it does hit. But I feel very confident. I love Francis Ngannou. I think he's very skilled as a mixed martial artist, but he's going up against the best there is in the heavyweight division. He's fought the guys like Deontay Wilder. I think it is very likely that Tyson Fury is getting his hand raised on Saturday.
It's crazy.
The pick was crazy or something else?
The lack of support for Francis.
I mean, it's been going.
I'm supporting
back and forth
Francis,
back
but
it's
yeah,
been
Frank's saying he's taking Francis by decision plus 5,000. He says lock it.
Wow. By the way, it's not bad. I mean, a little $10 sprinkle on that, I take that.
Sure, I'm not going to fault anyone.
No,
for
he's
that.
been
he's got massive
laughing at
knockout
my
power.
face. I just want to.
What about Overeem? Overeem was so convinced. Dare I say convincing? Overeem might be the first person that I've seen openly pick Francis. Anyone else picking Francis other than Frank? It's Frank and Overeem.
I think Joe's down for it, right?
Well, okay. Yeah, but you guys are doing it from like a sprinkling standpoint. He actually
we're supposed to
he
change the mortgage.
No. Overeem actually thinks that he's going to win,
which I appreciate.
I don't know if is anyone else picking Francis?
I'm sure there's going to be people out there that pick him.
I just haven't seen any like luminaries, any fight people.
It's a tall task, man.
It's a tall task. You know, I was on
going to boxing to fight one of the best boxers on planet Earth.
100%. I was on a show yesterday called Inside Boxing Live. I'm a big fan of this program, hosted by the great Dan Canobio and Chris Algieri, my favorite boxing podcast. And we were talking about this fight, of course. And Algieri referenced something that the great Teddy Atlas told him recently, which is people who typically don't fight in boxing shoes and then transition over to that. And of course, Francis has been training for a while now, sometimes have trouble just sort of getting comfortable in the shoes. It's just a whole different ball game. And he equated it to having the right type of, missiles, but not having the right type of missile launcher. And if you don't have the right type of missile launcher, the missiles are going to fall flat. And so what he was saying was Francis could have all the power in the world, but if he doesn't know how to actually unleash that power in a boxing ring, it's going to fall flat. I can't wait to see how this plays out. I know there are some people who think that Tyson is going to carry Francis. I think Francis has nothing to lose. I think everyone thinks he's going to get clowned and outclassed. And so laissez le bon temps rouler and just let it flow. Let it go. Just go. Now, very easy said than done. Tyson Fury, best heavyweight on the planet, and isn't just like a brute brawler, is a tremendous boxer, which is incredible for a man his size, 270 pounds. He could dance out there, and he can make you look very, very foolish. And so, yes, the speed is a concern. The precision is a concern. The volume is a concern. But hey, crazier things have happened. I can't wait to see.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be great theater.
Yeah.
It's going to be great theater. And then we move on with our lives, and then we look forward to Francis's return to MMA with the PFL. Even Tyson talking about the PFL. It's like, wow, this is big for the PFL. Like, just being associated with Francis with this fight, I'm assuming, the dignitaries will be there from the PFL. I would say this deal has worked out for them, and we'll see what happens with the purchase of Bellator. Not quite done just yet, but we suspect at this point, barring a last-minute catastrophe, that it will get done in November or December. So let's see how it all plays out. All right. I think we're good, right? Is there anything else?
I think that about sums it up.
That about sums it up. All right, friends. Great show. We lost some weight. I was sweating a lot. I'm a little bit stinky now, but we got it done, as we usually get it done. It's been a long time since someone bailed, right? Since my fear is losing the trust of the audience. I never want to say, hey, we got a banger of a lineup, let's pat ourselves on the back, and then someone doesn't show up, because that's incredibly embarrassing. So that's why I say, like, come hell or high water, come anything, like, I don't care. I don't care if they're on via, phone. I don't care if it's a walkie-talkie. I don't care if it's me holding the phone to the freaking microphone. I just want to deliver. And so at the end of the day, I think we delivered. This ain't no rinky-dink podcast where you can, tape, take a break, schedule an interview for 2:00, and then the person shows up at 4, and no one knows. No, we're live. That's actually one thing that I think is very underrated about this program. Live with MMA fighters, and more often than not, everyone's on time. Pretty remarkable, right? I would say pretty remarkable.
They are very dependable.
Of course, I'm texting them 49 times before the interview to remind them, but you know, that's what you got to do. You don't need to worry about that sort of thing. And so today's show is come and gone. Thank you very much to everyone who tuned in. Appreciate you all very much. The great Alistair Overeem, good luck to him. Congrats on an amazing career. Thank you very much to Tyson Fury. Good luck to him on Saturday as well. Thank you to Fabiano, the man, saved me. Thank you to Charles Oliveira as well. Much appreciated. Thank you to Mike Breeden. Thank you to Tommy Aspinall. What a great chat that was. Back on Monday, same time and place.